Be ready. Learn more at americares.org/send-us-in.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Low mortgage rates are back. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed-rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%, lowest in years. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time. Or you can keep your primary mortgage intact and get cash out of your equity with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards and some car loans and cut their monthly expense by $2,000. Call now and see what option works best for you. But don't miss the big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous Rapid Equity Loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks, and you may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal with no hard credit pull. Call 919-381-1760 now, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
My Lowe's Pro Rewards members go big during Lowe's Pro Savings Days. Get member volume discounts plus an extra 5% off eligible orders with a quote of $2,000 or more. Plus, buy more and save more with up to 25% off DWV pipes when you spend $250 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 123. Exclusions, more terms, and restrictions apply. Can't be combined with any contract or special pricing. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit the Pro Desk or Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. A lot of sunshine out there, and that is helping to warm things up just a bit. We'll see a high near 50 degrees, which is not far from normal for this time of year. We'll see increasing clouds tonight and tomorrow, but we stay dry until late tomorrow, and overnight tonight is not as cold. We'll keep it above freezing in the upper 30s. Tomorrow we warm up to around 60 degrees, but we'll end the day with a chance of showers that will linger overnight.
Weather update brought to you by Blue Shark Vodka, the world's smoothest vodka. Pour Blue Shark Vodka at all your events to lift everyone's spirits. Blue Shark Vodka, the shark that doesn't bite. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 797 points to 49,285. This hour of the drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you contact your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers.
Lofts it left to McNeil. Catch, step, three-pointers up and down. Hand in his face for McNeil. Turns the corner, fires a fastball left for Williams. Steps into a triple try and hits it. Was it in the lane? Copeland. Pump fake, 3 to shoot. Gives it right. Arsenault sends up a 3 and connects. Right corner, Terrence Arsenault. Williams at the right now for the Pack. Hunter's on him with 4 fouls. 15 to shoot. Drives, basket, feeds. Lubin, hammer time in OT. 76-72 Pack. 68 seconds to play.
Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. The energy is rising because we're going to get hit with some winter weather this weekend, and all of a sudden everybody's jacked.
Let's go.
I don't pretend to be a weatherman or a meteorologist, so I don't know if it's a wintry mix, ice, snow, freezing rain, sleet, hail. Just seems like it's going to be cold and something's going to be coming from the sky.
No one knows. It's going to be fun.
I'm a big like the weather app on my phone just for fun, and then when it's serious, I go to WRAL. I'm like, all right, let's figure this out. Weather app on my phone said like oodles and oodles of snow. I go to WRAL. I think they're doing the smart thing. They're like, well, we know that a winter storm is coming, and the track will decide what type of precipitation it is, and we'll let you know when it gets closer. I'm like, oh, that's no fun. Tell me 2 feet of snow so I can fantasize about snow days when I was a kid. Go snowball fight. Either way, the energy is rising, and NC State got a win last night. UNC plays tonight. There's court cases that everybody's watching right here in the Triangle, that, of course, being Darian Mensah, and we will get to all of them in the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
NC State beat number 18 in the country, Clemson, on the road. State traveled to beat number 18 Clemson in overtime, 80-76. I'm officially dubbing the North Carolina State, the NC State men's basketball team, college basketball's version of the Carolina Panthers. And you can take that as a compliment or an insult, however you want. When everyone believes in NC State, they drop one like they did to Georgia Tech. And when everybody goes, oh, no, they're not what everybody thought they are, they beat Clemson on the road for one of the best wins really in the country. If you look at all the advanced analytics, a true road game against a team like Clemson is one of the best wins of the year. Right? Obviously, good teams have lost, but oftentimes when they are on the road or when it's a neutral court, top 20 win in their place doesn't happen that often. And it was right as everybody kind of wanted to write them off. Right as everybody wanted to say Darian Williams can't do this or that this guy can't do that. They go ahead and they beat Clemson 80-76. And for what it's worth, I do think it was a very Will Wade win. It wasn't the prettiest win in the world. They went stretches, minutes, long stretches without a field goal. But they did the Will Wade stuff. They hustled. They played defense. They got to the free throw line. You don't need field goal attempts if you're scoring at the line. Darian Williams. We're going to talk about it, but I mentioned it yesterday. Shout out to @NC State Stats. They were going into the game 9-1 when Williams has a usage rate over 23%. They were 2-5 when he has a usage rate under 23%. Well, he was well over 23%, so make it 10-1. It continues to be one of the dividers for whether it's going to be a good game or a bad game for NC State. And then he was feeling himself, right? He was blowing kisses to the Clemson fans after hitting threes. He was doing the whole thing.
The Panthers comparison, spot on.
It's
100% spot on.
After and by the way, the wild swings of the fan base match.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
When the Panthers would win one, we'd have to put up with give Bryce Young the contract, and all everybody was unbelievable. Then when they lost, it was like, get this guy out of there. He stinks. And I feel that with State. Maybe not to one person, although if it was, it'd be Williams. But it's very much like when they win, Will Wade's the guy. He's the next Jimmy V. Build the statues. And when they lose, I don't know why anybody thought this guy would work. I don't. It's obviously they can't evaluate talent. They don't have this. They spent all this money, and it's like, whew, that's a lot to swing in one game every game.
Like, hey, you beat the Rams, you lose to the Saints. You lose to Georgia Tech, you beat Clemson.
Yep.
All right.
It's right there. It's right there. That's a really good win against Clemson. Like a really good win. And we can go into more of the reasons why. But the hard part is, and this was the hard part for the Panthers, is you can't prove consistency in one game. Right? It could be a great win, but we know as of recent, right, the other version of State is always lurking in the corner. And until we see, 4 or 5 games, I'm not saying you don't lose any, but you don't lay a clunker in any of them. We're gonna continue to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out on believing in you. That's number one. Let's get to number two.
Number 2.
UNC, the Tar Heels versus Notre Dame, hosting Notre Dame tonight at 7 p.m. This is I don't want to disrespect Notre Dame. They're like 80th in the net ranking, right? And anytime you have a program like Notre Dame, they'll have a little bit of talent. Don't get me wrong. This is a bounce-back game opportunity for UNC. I would say not only winning this game, but how they win this game is important. Because I do think, right, I have it in my notes, the size of Notre Dame, height, not intimidating. right? Their starters, I believe they top out at like 6'8". And if you continue looking at it, they have one guy plays off the bench who's like 6'10". Their leading scorer is a 6'7" forward. Second leading scorer, their best perimeter scorer is Braden Shrewsbury, the coach's son, at 11 points per game. He's just barely above 6 feet, like 6'2". So I do think in this game, UNC could win by just bullying them with their big guys. But that's not going to help them solve the problems that they face against better teams and bigger teams, right? That's just showing that Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasa are really good. We know that. So you want to see great perimeter defense, great perimeter communication. You want to see if Derek Dixon is the guy. You want to turn it over to him a little bit more, right? He stepped into the starting lineup in place of Kyan Evans last game. Whatever it is, like how they win this game is, I think, as important as them winning this game. Because even with the losses that they suffered, and they went on the road and lost to Stanford and then lost to Cal, I still think teams, 70 and below, if they're built a certain way, 70 in the rankings, net rankings, and below, if they're built a certain way, like UNC could win and should win, even if they don't fix the fatal flaw that's popped up in their losses. Now, if they're built a certain way, meaning they play outside in, and they have, guard scoring, that's a completely different beast. But that's not how Notre Dame is built. So I like win the game by any means necessary, don't get me wrong. But if you can win it and show improvement at the things that good teams have taken advantage of, that becomes significantly more important. That's at 7 p.m. tonight, UNC hosting Notre Dame. And that is number 2. Let's jump into number 3.
Number 3.
The Darian Mensah situation for Duke is, and I just tweeted this out a few minutes ago, I imagine this is how people that are really into like UFO sightings feel, where they're just on like message boards reading accounts from people that have absolutely no credibility, and they're just like they're hooked. It's almost like reality television. That's what Darian Mensah and the court case is for me. I'm on Twitter. I'm reading, like, somebody will just start a tweet with, as a lawyer, I'll go, perfect, I'm in. Yeah, there we go. Let me read everything this person says. Now, do I know they're a lawyer? I don't know. They started their tweet with, as a lawyer. So, as an attorney, sold. What do you got to say? And then they go into what the contracts mean. It's insane to the point where Tom Mars, I know, is a lawyer, okay? Tom Mars is a guy who has represented players suing for eligibility and suing schools and the NCAA a whole bunch of times. He's a very famous lawyer. He was discussing how the TRO, the temporary restraining order that Duke attempted to put on Darian Mensah yesterday, was denied. Today, Duke put out a statement that said the temporary restraining order that was put in place yesterday, and they did not acknowledge that it was denied at all. Tom Mars, who I know is a lawyer, was like, what is going on here? I don't know. What is happening? Turns out some people on Twitter told me there were 6 restraining orders that were attempted by Duke. 1 was denied. 5 were put in place. It is, and I say this, the negative kind. This is not the kind of chaos that the Carolina Hurricanes were trying to cause a couple years ago. This is pure bad chaos right now. I don't know if anybody knows what's going on. Now, admittedly, as I said at the beginning, this is becoming like conspiracy theory, right? So what I'm about to tell you, you may say is my version of, there's 2 types of aliens out there, right? And you're just like, okay, tell me what you think. I think there's 2 main options for how this is going to end, right? Because actually, I'll say 3. 3 options for how this is going to end. And the third option will be kind of a throwaway, but I want to open up the possibility there. The first is Darian Mensah and whatever school he plays for, likely Miami, will have to cut a huge check to Duke. Because if you don't finish out your contract obligations, the money that you earned has to be repaid, and he earned a bunch of money. So there's one option, right? Millions of dollars exchanges hands, ending up in Duke. The other is Darian Mensah gets so tired of this, right, and sees court costs and lawyer fees and dragging this out, and who knows if he's going to be able to be at spring ball if there's the proper injunctions, and he just goes, forget it, it's not worth it, I just want to play, I'll go back to Duke. And then the third option would be you get a judge that is just pro-person, meaning pro-employee in these kind of relationships, or pro or I guess I could say anti-establishment, right, is just these student athletes are being taken advantage of, and they just rule everything in Mensah's favor, in which case he rolls scot-free. I don't know how it goes. Those are the three I see as possibilities. There's probably 10 that I'm missing. But goodness gracious, is this not where you want to be in January when most of the quarterbacks have already popped out of the portal and picked their locations? Duke could be in trouble. And also, like, correct me if I'm wrong, wouldn't it be really awkward if Darian Mensah goes back to Duke?
You think?
I don't – football is not like any other job where it's like, hey, we got you with the non-compete, so you're back. You gotta go do these reports or whatever. Like, you got to put your body on the line out there, right? And why would Darian Mensah, after this back and forth, and I don't know, it just seems like if he comes back, it would be a lot of very cold and callous interactions rather than what football has to be, which is that whether it's make-believe and you're faking it or not, like that family atmosphere. I'm in, though. Whatever conspiracy theories or fake lawyers want to send me stuff, I'm reading. I'm hooked. I'm in, like, Reddit forums with people arguing about precedents set in 1954 and the case of Franklin versus whatever. Like, I'm in. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9, The Fan. Then there's also action going on, that actually is sports related, like NC State beating number 18 Clemson last night. Men's basketball. How did they do it, and what does it mean for them going forward? We'll get to that coming up next, right here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the K-Yow Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. I'm Jenny Palmetier, CEO of the K-Yow Cancer Fund. From now through January 31st, Triangle area Bojangles will donate all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K-Yow Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry, do some good, and get something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. All right, let's paint the scenario here. I need windows. But, man, I don't have 3 hours to go through the process of deciding what I need, when I need it. Can you help at the Aluminum Company?
Absolutely. So, first of all, when we come out to your house to look at your windows, typical window appointment may last 45 minutes, an hour. We're certainly not going to make a 4 or 5 hour commitment to talk about windows. We're there to help.
Serve dinner last time.
Right. Listen, my wife always says, I talk to my wife all the time. We have salespeople, whatever we're doing. And my wife, I tell her all the time, I can't stand salespeople. And she laughs. She's like, you are a salesperson. I'm like, well, the difference is I'm just having a conversation trying to help people get what they want. I'm not there to pressure you. I'm just there to help you get in and out. And it's a pretty quick appointment. It's pretty efficient. So we're there to help you and make it quick.
I can vouch for that. The Aluminum Company of North Carolina, online at aluminumcompany.com.
Yeah. We ain't worth a damn at home, so that's a good thing. It's a good thing we're pretty good on the road because we're awful at home.
That's the voice of Will Wade, head coach NC State basketball. And he's not wrong, right? They are playing well, particularly in conference on the road. And they're not playing particularly well at home. Which, you ready for this, is the right way to do it? I know fans are like, no, we want to see him play well, right? It feels like your team is almost like a mirage or something, right? When I watch them, they're not that good. But when I don't watch them, when I'm watching on a screen, they look a lot better, and it doesn't make any sense. By the way, this is a phenomenon that happens in sports. If you're a fan, you've dealt with it. There are players, there are golfers especially. I feel like, I look them up in the official world golf rankings, and they're like 17th. And I'm like, I don't know. I watch a lot of golf tournaments, and they're never in the mix. And then every time I'm busy for a weekend, I'm out of town, I'm not watching, they finish like 4th. And I'm like, I don't know. How does it happen? I feel like State has a bit of that where, when you're there in person, you're ready to watch. They don't impress, but when they're on the road, they're playing great, which is a bummer for fans. You don't get to see the best, but it's the right way to do it because of net rankings and quad victories, right? When you are on the road, a team doesn't have to be ranked as high for it to be a quad 1 or a quad 2 victory, right? At home, to beat a team and get quad 1 points, you need to be top 30. The opponent needs to be. Neutral court, top 50. Road, top 70. So even if, they beat Clemson on the road, that's a quad 1 win. What is Clemson now, 28th, something like that, 27th?
27.
So if they beat them at home, it would be a quad 1 as of now. If Clemson goes on a little bit of a losing streak and they fall out of that top 30, if you had beaten them in your own arena, that becomes a quad 2. However, now they can go on a losing streak, fall all the way down to 70th, and it's still a quad 1 victory. So it's important. It's better to win on the road than at home. It's better to win on the road than at home. It's best to win all of them, right? It's best to be consistent.
Obviously.
And consistency is the part that's eluding NC State right now. Right? It is slippery, I guess I should say. Meaning they feel like they have it in their hands. They feel like you're watching the road game against Clemson and you have Darian Williams not even being super efficient scoring the basketball, but just being the hub through which the offense plays through, and he makes some nice passes and he gets to be a centerpiece. And Van Allen Lubin is playing great, and Kadir Copeland's doing his thing, much better offensive player than I thought, and meaning at the beginning of the year. And they're finding a way. They're finding a way. And here's what I mean by that. Clemson actually has a very, very tall team. Okay, they're starters, and I went and wrote this down, and I know this is what they're listed at, so, maybe there's a little forgery there. Maybe they were wearing their Air Maxes with the air bubble there, giving them an extra couple inches. But their starters go 6'10", 6'10", 6'8", 6'3", 6'1" in the backcourt. They have another 6'10" coming off the bench and playing decent minutes. 3 guys played decent minutes last night, 6'10". You look at NC State, they especially in their main rotation, don't have a ton of height. So you'd think that would be something they struggle with. But if you watch the game, shout out to the guards and the wings of State. When they got switched on to their big guys, they fought like heck. And they didn't, metaphorically, give an inch to those big guys. And to me, that's what Will Wade's been asking for. Right? He's been asking for, sure, you may get in a bad matchup. You may be facing something that is inherently a disadvantage to you. Fight and claw like heck. And that's what they did. And they came up with a win in overtime against a top 20 opponent on the road. And it wasn't the best game played in the world, right? I brought this up earlier. They went through field goal droughts. They went, 34 minutes without scoring a field goal. But their defense also made Clemson go stretches without scoring a field goal. And their offense, even when they weren't shooting it great, was still finding a way to get to the free throw line. So even if it was a field goal drought, it wasn't a points drought. Scratching and clawing and finding a way. That's what they are when they're good. When they're not good, right? When they're losing to Georgia Tech, when they're dropping games they shouldn't, you don't see that same type of versatility. It is a big win, and we're about to play a clip again from Will Wade in the postgame about the big win for their NCAA resume, something they haven't had, right? They had no quad 1 wins coming into the game. So just inherently looking at the Clemson game by itself, it is a huge game. It doesn't prove consistency, but it proves some kind of top end that we knew was in there. Here's Will Wade on the win.
It's a little bit of a relief because I didn't know if we had it in us or not, if I'm being truthful. So, it was good to see us have that in us and play with some poise and execute in a tough environment. So it was good for us to do that.
They needed it. From bracketology standpoint, they needed it. But actually, ready for this? It's really for the amateur bracketologists they needed it. Their net ranking with the win is what, like 27, 28? Them and Clemson are right backed up against each other. With the loss, they wouldn't have fallen to 50th. You know what I mean? They would have been in the mix. But when I say amateur bracketologists, I mean the ones that aren't deep in the equations. They need to see those highlights. They need to see big wins, best wins. They need to see those games, or else they can't fathom putting a player in. They're not quite, advanced analytic-y like baseball is, right? Baseball used to be to win a Cy Young, you had to win 20 games, right? And they've worked so hard to educate everybody about analytics that now if you have great ERA and whatever WARs and all those crazy things, even if you don't have 20 wins, you can still get in. But you probably need 10, right? That's what the quad one games are. There is still some old school thinking built into every committee member. It's like, if you're advanced analytics, tell us you're a great team, but you don't even have one quad one win. You don't even have 4 quad one wins, whatever it ends up being. They have a hard time with it. So it's necessary that state wins a few games like this. But if we're being real, if you want to make noise in an ACC tournament, if you make the NCAA tournament, if you want to go on a roll, you're not going to do that with one great game. You're not going to do that with 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It has to be a consistency thing. And maybe they have to look towards Van Allen Lubin, a guy we're familiar with from obviously last year UNC, this year NC State, being kind of steady Eddie dependable. He's just playing a really good basketball game in and game out. And Kadir Copeland, as I said, much better scorer than I anticipated. I don't think he's the type of scorer where, like, you're an ISO guy on important possessions, which they did a few times last night, where it's just him one-on-one creating off the dribble on a key possession. I don't know if he's that, but those two have been the most steady, consistent players for NC State this year. Going back to when things were really not going well, Will Wade singled them out as the two that were playing well. So take their lead and find a way to do it night in and night out, or else you're gonna be a team that nobody is talking about when it comes to the top of the league, but has a few good wins.
They have a lot of chances for some quad one wins, by the way, coming up, because they still have to go to SMU, which is be a quad one, to Louisville. Home against Miami is borderline quad one, quad two. Playing against Carolina is going to be quad one. At Virginia, quad one. Duke is going to be quad one. Actually, at Wake Forest right now is set to be a quad one as well. So they have a lot of big-time games when it comes to their tournament resume still in front of them.
Oh, yeah. And credit to the ACC for having so many potential trophy fish still remaining. If this were years past, they might not.
8 teams in the top 35.
That's huge. That's massive.
Especially when you can get quad one games at home, which has been a difficult thing in the league for the last several years.
Yeah, to have to be top 30 it's not easy.
They have 5 top 30. Actually, 6. My apologies. 6.
Good for them.
North Carolina right at 30. SMU right at 31.
I was going to say, and by the way, that's not set, right? You'll go up and down with wins and losses. North Carolina's going to have to figure some things out if they want to stay near that top 30 net rankings. And tonight against Notre Dame, they might figure some of those things out. But similarly to State, they're not going to prove everything to me today, right? They got to do it more consistently. Today, they can definitely help themselves, though. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, let's talk Miller Lending. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Similar to some of those rankings, right? It's sometimes you can't even explain it, right? A team loses, they go up 5 spots in the rankings. A team wins, and they drop if it was a close game against the wrong team. Doesn't that sound a bit like mortgage rates? Right. Wait a second. The economy is going this way. Rates are going that way. Interest rates go down. Price of my house goes. What is going on here? You don't have to be able to explain it. What you have to do is be able to take advantage of it. Tim Donnelly here, as I said, for Miller Lending. And Miller Lending's no-cost loan, their no-closing cost loan, gives you that ability. If mortgage rates go down tomorrow, if interest rates go down tomorrow, you don't have to explain it. What you might have to do is call Miller Lending and get a refi that will lower your monthly payment with no cost, no fees, none of those hidden surcharges, nothing wrapped up or rolled into your rate, right? Who cares why they go down? Just be ready to get a lower monthly payment. Right. And if you buy down your rate a bunch, or if you pay all these closing costs, you're going to be reluctant to do that because you think it's going to cost all this money, or you're going to think you wasted all that money that you paid when you bought down your rate and paid closing costs. With Miller Lending, no cost loan, you don't feel pot committed by all those closing costs and fees, so you're ready soon as rates drop to refi. If you got a mortgage with Miller Lending 2 years ago, when rates were near their top, right, touching 8, you've probably refinanced twice since then, lowered your monthly payment, and it didn't cost you all those costs and fees that you were expecting it to. So again, stop trying to explain the rates or predict, right, this time next year it's going to be. Whatever happens, be ready to roll with Miller Lending. Let them set it up for you. The number to call with questions, right? Free consultation, no commitment by making the call. The number is 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that is millerlending.com. Let me make sure I say this correctly. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We'll be right back after this with the Dean's List and more. Stick around.
It's the start of something new sales event right now at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Drive home a brand new 2026 Ram 1500 for 20% off. Or pick your financing deal, 0% for 60 months or 2.9% for 72 months. America's best-selling truck comes with a terrific powertrain limited warranty, 10 years or 100,000 miles. Excludes RHO and tungsten. See dealer for details. So get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington today.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with the white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Hi friends, this is Mark Pons with Chapel Hill Tire. In basketball, when your feet slip, the play is over. Traction keeps you in the game. The same goes for the road. That's why this January and February, you'll save $120 with free installation when you buy a full set of Michelin, Pirelli, or Uniroyal tires. Better grip on cold roads and wet pavement means more control behind the wheel. Confidence you can feel every time you drive. With 13 locations across the Triangle, we're easy to find. Book your appointment at chapelhilltire.com, save $120, and drive happy.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
4th and 6 from the 12. Gets the snap off with 2 seconds to spare. Rifles, end zone. Justin Jolie leaps up. It is a touchdown on 4th and 6, a 12-yarder. Pac's going to win the game. 20-11 with 1:47 to play.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. I guess just this isn't a warning necessarily, but a heads up. They're predicting some winter weather coming through the area in the next week.
Oh, I hadn't heard.
Yep, some big talk around the water cooler, right? How much ice or snow or whatever they are predicting. Obviously, when it comes to sporting events and when it comes to things like Canes Corner, which is scheduled for Monday with Brandon Bussey. As soon as we know, if I'm not saying anything is changing, but if a schedule is changing, we'll pass it along to you. Obviously, there's games this weekend in the area, and if they decide to, bump them up a couple hours to try to beat the weather or whatever it is, we will pass all of that along to you. But yes, there's a possibility, right? You always want to make sure people are traveling, especially if a bunch of fans are all going into the same area. You want to make sure everybody's being safe. So, before you head out, especially if it is some winter weather, before you head out to go to a sporting event or whatever, just double check, make sure they haven't moved it or rescheduled it or something like that. And that goes for events like Canes Corner as well.
Basically, to sum up what Tim is saying, don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid, but also
when it comes to, driving.
Yeah, but even if maybe you're from northern Canada and you have a giant truck with the right tires and you know how to do it, it would be a real bummer if you show off your skills, drive safe, and make it all the way to an arena and nobody's there because they moved the game to the next day or they played it 6 hours earlier to beat the weather. We'll pass it along if we hear anything, but I do know they're talking about it and behind closed doors and making sure everybody can be safe because that's the most important part.
I know Wake is supposed to play at Duke Saturday. I think it's 6 o'clock for men's basketball. I wouldn't be shocked if they move that game up to Friday.
Or noon,
early.
Yeah, whatever it ends up being. Again, they haven't done it yet, but it's scheduled for 5:45 right now on Saturday, which, again, depending on which weather service you look at, it's pretty much right in the thick of the stuff you don't want to be driving in.
Play it at 9 a.m. Biscuits and basketball, baby. Let's go.
I wouldn't hate a Friday afternoon game.
That actually be kind of.
It was kind of nice on Monday with the holiday having Canes at 1:30. It was just a nice vibe to look outside, see sunlight, and be watching games during a weekday. So maybe, who knows? We'll see. My point is, pay attention, listen up, double check everything.
Biscuits and basketball. Let's make it happen, baby.
You need to move to Hawaii. There's a lot of breakfast and sporting events in Hawaii with the time difference. You don't get to watch them in person at all, but they're on TV. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the Dean's List. All right, there's a few here. I'll start with this one. I brought it up a second ago, but I didn't give him his stats. Just, people like stats. Ben Allen Lubin, NC State big man, had 22 points and 6 rebounds in the overtime win over number 18 Clemson last night. 9 of 12 shooting. That's good basketball. That's efficiency. 12 shots, 22 points. Knocked down some free throws. Had the kind of ceiling dunk on the little shovel pass from Williams in overtime. It's just a good game for him amongst a bunch of good games, but, I want to pass credit where it's due, and he is definitely due for some credit. More Dean's List. How about this? Former Davidson, NC State, and Elon football coach Curt Cignetti. We had the caller the other day who was an Elon fan and was like, we had him, and we let him go. Elon, I do think, kind of let him go, right? Or not, sorry, Elon did not let him go. They couldn't hold him, right? He was having success at Elon, but you look at budgets and things, they just couldn't come up with it. JMU and then obviously Indiana could. I wonder if State feels a little like, how'd we let this guy go? He was the quarterback's coach for Phillip Rivers' entire career. And despite the success he's had at different levels, I bet they could have got him to be their head coach a few times. Not saying to, fire or move on from any of the guys they did have. It's just like sliding doors moment. You knew so much about him, and he was tied to maybe the best era of your school, and he ended up coaching for someone else and winning a national championship. And then Davidson, he was just a position coach in the 80s, but hey, way to go.
Shout out to the Wildcats.
Do you have any Dean's Listers you want to get to here?
I actually don't have anyone on the Dean's List.
That's fine, because I want some space to
thing,
roam
sir.
on this one. I'm putting Duke football.
All right.
And it's for, I went back and forth on this 1,000 times. It's for suing Darian Mensah, which is a complete departure from how I traditionally stand on these types of issues where it is team versus player. I believe for decades, centuries even, schools did not give players the appropriate rights, and they didn't have the way to earn off their name and everything, and that annoyed me. But I've crossed the bridge in specific scenarios, and I think I'm going to be against the players in this specific case. I am on the record saying college athletes should be able to make their own decisions. They should be able to decide what's best for them. When I argue that the transfer portal should be okay, they should be allowed to do it, people usually say, well, what transferring 3 times isn't the right way to do it. And I've always said, maybe. But they have the right to make that. They're adults, and adults get to make their own decisions. We don't protect anyone else from their own decisions once they're adults. So why do we do it for athletes? But part of being an adult is being held accountable for those decisions, right? You have to face the consequences of your decisions, just like you would reap the rewards of your decisions. Like signing a contract. I believe Darian Mensah was an adult when he signed the contract to have a multi-year commitment to Duke. Thus, I think you have to be held by it. Right? And if you believe, like, these guys sign contracts and then they should be able to just leave because they're young and he didn't know what he was getting, that's the exact opposite of my argument for why the transfer portal should be around and why NIL should be a thing. Then you're not treating them like adults again. You're treating them like they're on, like, practice mode. And if they make a decision, it's, oh, okay, that's fine. Just unplug it, no save, plug it back in, start the game over. Like, that's not how this works. And we're seeing it in basketball. We're seeing it in a bunch of different avenues right now in college sports where young adults, not kids, young adults are making adult decisions and they're not being held to them. And the courts are saying they can't be, and I don't love that. If you sign a contract, I think you got to honor it. So Duke going after Mensah is not Duke going after, to keep the young person in their place or to bully. It's more, I don't know, they paid him a lot of money. It's not like they didn't show up on their end of the contract. And for him to leave, there's an honor element, yes, like being a person of your word, but there's also an element of, if you sign a bad contract, you got to live it out. Or do what the contract says you have to do to get out of it, right? And we see it in professional sports all the time. We see it in other industries all the time. Guys are playing on huge discounts because they signed a contract. So Duke football, I don't know if you really have a legal leg to stand on, but I'm rooting for you. For the future of college sports, I'm rooting for you. So I guess also on the Dean's List, Dan Mahan, Duke redshirt freshman quarterback.
Yeah.
ESPN put out an article predicting the starting quarterback at all power conferences, and they put Mahan on there for Duke.
There you go.
Because he's kind of the one that's still there. They're obviously going to test the portal, and who knows, might bring back Mensah back. But if Darian Mensah is not there, Dan Mahan appears to be the guy.
He was a 3-star recruit.
They must just like the initials DM.
Hey, he's from Burlington.
Hey, even better. But if he gets a chance, probably wasn't expecting it. Take advantage of it. Obviously, you got a pretty good running back, some good receivers. We just saw how Nate Shepard, Cooper Barkate in the bunch. You'll be set up nice. All right, that's it for the Dean's List here on The Drive. Coming up next on the Heister Automotive Group Hotline, we will be hearing from the commissioner of a brand new pro sports league that is coming to the Triangle. Brand new team. The league is exciting. It's all on the come up. Stick around to find out what sport and what team will be here in the Triangle. But actually, before we get to any of that, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick from my good friends over at Law Tigers. I know you people have heard me talk about it before, about being safe when you're out there on the road. It's not just for motorcycle riders. It's for drivers as well. And with the winter weather and all that coming up, I know a lot of people ain't going to be out there on motorcycles for sure. But as a motorcycle rider, I always have to make sure I'm checking out the conditions of the roads. Is it slick? Is it a little bit wet? Even if it's a warm spring day, you always have to make sure you're understanding of the road conditions. That way you're safe out there on the road. So make sure you're safe out there on the road, folks. Be smart when you're out there. But if you're injured in a motorcycle accident at any point, contact Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you get in touch with your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free. and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Even if you got injured in an accident, let's say this past year, and you feel like the insurance company isn't doing everything for you, still give Law Tigers a call. Again, the case evaluation is always free. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Here's from that commissioner of a new league coming to the area next.
It's the playoffs, and honestly, your living room isn't ready for this. Your couch doesn't have award-winning wings, your fridge doesn't have 30 beers on tap, and your TV, oh, it's outnumbered. Carolina Ale House has wall-to-wall TVs, we've got homemade favorites, ice-cold beer, and enough screens to catch every game at once. So grab your crew, bring your appetite, and yell at the TV like a professional. Don't fumble your game day plans. Watch the playoffs at Carolina Ale House, where great sports deserve great food. Ale, yeah.
I'm Neil, founder of Clay Room. When I found ceramics, I realized my calling was to give others the space to be creative. So I set out to open my own studio. Having a Chase Ink card has allowed us to grow it and bring people together. Now we're molding a creative community.
With the Chase Ink Business Cash Card, you can earn up to 5% cash back on business essentials, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for Business. Make more with yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Hey, it's Tim Donnelly here, and I want to make sure everybody knows that Bailey's Fine Jewelry is proud to feature the largest Omega showroom of its kind, offering an unmatched opportunity to explore the brand's full collection. And this year, that means just a little bit more, because Omega has been the official timekeeper of the Olympic Games since 1932. So, if Omega and their timekeeping and all of the technology and innovation that you can have on your wrist is good enough in the extreme cold, high speeds, and intense physical conditions of the Olympics, downhill skiing, speed skating, where every 10th of a second matters, well, guess what? It has to be good enough for you. And, in my personal opinion, they also look so darn sharp. I am a massive fan of Omega watches, luxury timepieces, and that's why you should stop out at the largest Omega boutique of its kind inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Welcome back, everybody. By the way, subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. You can also check us out on our app, 99.9 The Fan. There's giveaways there all the time. There's a newsletter you can sign up for. There's obviously all of the content you're looking for, written content, and all of our on-air and video content as well. And we have some cool stuff coming your way. Shout out to our powers that be, right? The big bosses. We had some meetings yesterday where the new podcast studios coming our way, a bunch of basically more tools at our disposal as kind of the on-air talent content creators that we can use to make more and more content for you. So it's all coming around. But you got to be subscribed. You have to listen on air. You have to download the app and do all those things. 99.9 The Fan. Search for it on all social medias. We are expecting Kim Ng, the commissioner of Athletes Unlimited Softball League, to join us. Dennis, do we have her connected up as of yet? No, not yet. Okay, cool. This is all very new to the area, okay, what we're about to talk about. Kim Ng is the commissioner when it comes to the Athletes Unlimited Softball League with a team, the Carolina Blaze, coming to Durham. We're going to get all the details on it. But first, this is no rinky-dink operation. I want that to be known, right? Kim Ng comes with bona fides. She was the Marlins general manager. Prior to that, spent a long time as an assistant general manager for the Dodgers and Yankees. So she has seen the insides and outsides of some of the biggest baseball / sports organizations in the entire world, definitely in North America. And she's bringing a lot of, or all of that knowledge to Athletes Unlimited Softball League. And with that, they chose Durham as one of their places to host a team, and they are looking to build softball as much as you possibly can build it, right? It is one of those growing and growing and growing sports when it comes to interest from youth in our country and you know, the Olympic levels and all those sorts of things. So the Carolina Blaze will be representing our area in this league, and they had an event earlier today, a little official launch event for the Carolina Blaze, which will feature, former Duke athletes. It's being played in Durham, so they'll have that connection. But athletes from all over the country as well, as they try to rep the triangle in Athletes Unlimited Softball. So as soon as Kim Ng connects with us here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, we'll bring her on and get into the nitty-gritty of it. And perhaps we'll even sneak in a potential MLB lockout payroll question with the former GM of the Miami Marlins. Now that she's not working for MLB, maybe we can get a little insight, right? Maybe we can get a little honesty there from Kim. So we're expecting that here in the next few minutes. In the meantime, I do want to remind everybody on Monday, we are scheduled at the moment to have Brandon Bussey as our Canes Corner guest with Mike Maniscalco. And you can obviously attend that in person if the weather permits. You can always listen to it right here on 99.9 The Fan as long as it takes place. And I mean, Brandon Bussey, is there a name more electric in NHL circles right now? I say no. And, speaking of just kind of cool stories coming to our area, did anybody, and if you haven't, I suggest you do, see the post-game interview the other game with Bussey and Hank, right? His King Henrik
Lundqvist.
Apparently that was his dude growing up, right? That was his guy. That was who he was rooting for growing up on Long Island, and he actually got to chat with him after the game, and those are stories that are just incredible, right? Those are stories where you see him break, and he actually handled himself pretty darn well. Rather than geeking out and talking about, I had your card, I had your poster on my wall. He answered the questions, but once he acknowledged that the King of New York was his dude, it became a really cool moment. So we'll definitely hear more of that when he's brought up on Canes Corner, and just a little teaser of what you might learn about the new goaltender. In the meantime, we are told that Kim Ng is on the line, Heister Automotive Group hotline, and ready to chop it up with us about the Athletes United Softball League and the Carolina Blaze coming to Durham. Kim, thank you very much for taking the time to join us. How was the launch event, right, which took place earlier today and celebrated the introduction of the Carolina Blaze?
Yeah. Hey, Tim. Thanks for having me on. Today was great. We had a presser over at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park to announce our sinking our teeth into the Durham, RDU Research Triangle market. And we will have the Carolina Blaze playing here in 2026. Last year we had a touring model with 4 teams, went to 12 different markets across the country. This offseason we just announced us locking down into 6 markets, so Durham being one of them.
So just because it is so new to the area, we'll take kind of a big picture here quickly. And we're talking with Kim Ng, the commissioner of Athletes United Softball League. What is the Athletes United Softball League?
Yeah, Athletes Unlimited is a softball league. We had our inaugural season last year. Again, barnstorming tour, 4 teams. We played 24 games over the course of 2 months. This past off-season, expanded 2 teams, so we're up to 6 teams. Those markets will be obviously Durham, Chicago, Oklahoma City, Austin Round Rock, Salt Lake City, and Portland. And so we'll be playing over June, July, August. And we have the world's best players of the U.S. national team. We've got 17 of the 18 players that will be in our league, so future Olympians as we head back into the Olympics in 2028.
All right, perfect. And then with the league coming to the area, or once you guys decide to pick the 6 kind of locations, why was Durham the spot for you to settle down here in the area?
Yeah, no, I mean, North Carolina, obviously, many generations of softball players have come from here. So we are going to be playing at Duke University. Duke University, a program that has grown so quickly. It is now in the national rankings soundly each year, and Coach Marissa has done a phenomenal job with the program. We have a couple of players, Jayla Wright as well as Anna Gold, hometown heroes coming back to Durham. But really, Durham was just a great place. We had the Durham Bulls, who were very much a part of the conversation since last year, the Durham Sports Commission, as well as Duke University. And together, this...
Oh, no, go ahead. Finish up. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Just together, this group did everything they could to bring us to this area. So just a tremendous effort.
We're talking with Kim Ng, the commissioner of Athletes Unlimited Softball League. Kim, is this a league, right? You brought up the like hometown heroes coming back to play for Durham. Is this a league where you draft players coming out of college? Are they the local ties assigned to a team? How does this all break down?
Yeah, so obviously we want to keep, the player allocation and integrity of the league. So we did the best that we could in terms of how we assign the teams to markets. And then we do draft out of the college ranks. So college seniors are those eligible. And so this year's draft class is an amazing class. If you know college softball at all. And the Blaze will have the number one overall pick coming out of the draft this year.
All right. We're talking with Kim Ng, the AUSL Commissioner, here on the Drive on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Listen, Kim, we're all very excited for the Blaze, right? We'll be ready to cheer on the local team. But while we have you here, with your extensive background with Major League Baseball, we had some callers talking about this yesterday, so maybe to provide some answers. With the way the payroll and everything is going, do you see Major League Baseball going to a lockout here when the CBA is up?
Hard to say. I think obviously, every labor negotiation is different. Hopefully we don't get to that point, because the game is obviously on a great track right now. One other thing I should tell you guys, in our season here in Durham, we actually are going to be playing also at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park, a 3-game series, June 25th to 27th. So you can get your season ticket packages now if you go to theausl.com.
All right, Kim, we appreciate it. We'll make sure we pass all that information along again, and good luck with the league, and go Blaze.
All right, thanks, Tim. Take care.
Once again, that is Kim Ng, the former Marlins GM, former front office executive with the Dodgers and Yankees, and current commissioner of Athletes Unlimited Softball League, which is bringing a team to the area. The Carolina Blaze will be in Durham. They had their launch event earlier today. They have broadcast agreements set up. They are ready to hit the ground rolling, as they have 6 home base teams this year rather than the barnstorming model they had in the past. So, hey, go check it out. Right, I was reading some of the information about the league. There's a huge amount of family interest, right? And the fans, the season ticket holders and everything, overwhelmingly parents with kids. So get out there and check it out there in Durham. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have football at 4 coming up next. We dive into the next position group for the Carolina Panthers this offseason. Stick around.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
This is the sound of Claire, cooking dinner at home. And that's the sound of a fraud alert from Wells Fargo, flagging a charge for a pricey restaurant in Paris. Considering Claire isn't in Paris right now, that seemed odd. To the bank and to Claire. 2 taps later, Claire says nope to the charge, and Wells Fargo is on the case. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Hey folks, Dennis Cox here for my good friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. We're already halfway through the month of January, beyond the midway point, and so many people out there when it comes to the weight loss journey, let's be honest, you've already gone off the rails with it, but that's okay. You have to get onto a plan, and that's exactly what Raleigh Weight Loss Center is there to do. Give you a plan to follow. There's no shots, no injections, no steroids, none of the side effects, just a simple path for you to reset your metabolism. That way your body can do the natural thing, which is lose weight. I've lost over 40 pounds thanks to the program over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Again, over 40 pounds, 15% of my body weight gone. And Raleigh Weight Loss Center is there for the new year and the new you. Give them a call, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up a free 15-minute phone consultation. See if the program is the right thing for you. 919-897-7506, RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Results may vary.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Lots of sunshine out there this afternoon, and temperatures are warming up to around 50 degrees, and that's pretty close to normal for this time of year. Not quite as cold overnight tonight. We'll drop into the upper 30s under increasing clouds and becoming mostly cloudy for tomorrow with a small chance for showers late, but it's mild with a high near 60.
Weather update brought to you by Blue Shark Vodka, the world's smoothest vodka. Pour Blue Shark Vodka at all your events to lift everyone's spirits. Blue Shark Vodka, the shark that doesn't bite. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 595 points to 49,084.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It is time for Football at 4. We started this yesterday, so we're in day 2 of a series here. And the series is basically evaluating next year by position group for the Panthers. You don't want to let the momentum of making the postseason and showing pretty well, even in a loss, to the Rams to escape. You want to build off that. Which, by the way, if you're looking for a football hardo, Ben Johnson, by the way, North Carolina guy, head coach of the Bears, they asked him about like building on next year. He's like, there is no building. We're back to zero. We're the 32nd best team. Everybody is. It's like, okay. Sure. Gambling odds would say different. There are definitely teams that are well above others. It feels like half the teams don't even have a coach. So maybe it's not the same for everybody there.
I feel great about playing football right now.
Dave Canales knows. Sometimes I think football coaches feel like they have to talk like that. Not like Dave Canales, like Ben Johnson. Dave Canales, I don't think, is capable of talking any way other than the way Dave Canales talks. But with all that being said, they have to improve at darn near every position as well. Whether it's the players getting better individually or adding more talent, more skill, more experience to certain positions. So yesterday we talked wide receivers. Today we're talking defensive backs. We're starting as far away from the football as you can, and we're working our way in. Defensive backs. And we're going to start every single part of this series with a score out of 100. And it's not how they played this past year, okay? That the last year, it's old news. It's how confident you are in the players that are currently signed for next year. And I think most people are going to have a problem with my score for defensive backs, but hear me out. I gave them a 75 out of 100. 75. We're talking defensive backs. 75 out of 100 is my score. And here's why. 3 of the 4, I give a perfect 25. 3 out of the 4, kind of, 2 corners, 2 safeties, I'm extremely confident in. 3/4 are ready to roll. You have J.C. Horn on one side, Mike Jackson on the other side, and Trevon Merrick. I like it.
It's a pretty solid group.
That 4th, though, I'm not nearly as confident in, so that's where the lack of 25 points comes from. Look at where, and this is where you can, off season, you have more time to dive into it. When you have time, go look at the throw charts, the pass charts that the Advanced Analytics NFL puts out, Next Gen Stats. Look where the good teams attacked the Panthers. Middle of the field. Right? They tried occasionally on the outside, right? You got to take your shots downfield to your outside wide receivers and all that. But where they had their success was middle of the field. And that is both the gift and the curse of playing on the defensive side of the ball. You don't control things, right? The offense has much more proactive, right? So J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, Trevon Merrick are great. They're fantastic. I'm very excited for their futures. Mike Jackson got some all-pro love from certain outlets across the country this year, and J.C. Horn is the 3rd highest paid defensive back in the history of the league for a reason. Trevon Merrick, I think, really, really impressed me this year. I had my trepidations when they signed him to the big free agency contract, but I liked a lot of what he did. But the good play callers, right, the great offensive coordinators, the great offensive minds are able to scheme up 1,000 different ways to attack the not J.C. Horn, the not Mike Jackson, and the not Trevon Merrick. I think a lot of that kind of attitude this year was focused on 2 places. They wanted to test Mike Jackson, and they wanted to test that second safety. And Mike Jackson passed with flying colors, and I'm not sure the other one did. So because of that, next year you're just going to get more. There's going to be more and more targets towards there. Mm-hmm. And J.C. Horn can have his guy blanketed, and he can have great coverage. And the offense might go, yeah, we expected that. We were never planning to go over there because we're attacking this guy. So, what do they do with that second safety spot? What I believe will be a more coverage-oriented safety because Merrick is such a physical presence, and he even comes down. Sometimes they'll throw an extra safety on there. Lathan Ransom, I think, is an interesting player there, and he's still on a rookie contract, so you can almost get a rookie mid-round contract. So you almost get a free play to see what he develops into. But I think you need to add. You need to add. Could be a free agent. Hopefully not the most expensive free agent because now your secondary is looking really, really expensive. With Merrick being a $17 million a year and Horn being an exceptionally high salaried guy, you might have to bargain basement hunt a little bit. Maybe it's in the draft. Probably not your first rounder, even if you really like a guy there, just because it doesn't make sense to pay first round contract for a safety to develop. But I think they need to have a true coverage safety that can cover the middle of the field, can make that less of a target for offensive coordinators to go attack.
Well, I think you said the name, Lathan Ransom. That's the big question. So if you're Dan Morgan, you have to decide, can that guy step in and be the starting free safety for you? Like you said, 4th round rookie contract, you could still play him. If he gives you above or even just even to what Nick Scott gave you this past season, then okay. But I think he could potentially give you more. I just think there might be with Ransom a little bit more knack for finding the football as opposed to what Nick Scott gave you. I understand Nick Scott started his career with the Rams when Evero was there. Evero was the safeties coach, so there's the history there. He's almost like the David Moore version to Dave Canales, and Nick Scott is kind of that to Evero. But I think if you're Dan Morgan, the first place you look is, all right, do we think Lathan Ransom can start as our free safety? If the answer is yes, it makes things so much easier from there. If you're not sure, then like you said, do we go free agent? Do we go draft? What do you do? That's the big question. You got to look and determine what Lathan Ransom can be first.
And there's a world where Lathan Ransom is developing well. and he's still not that safety opposite Trevon Merrick. They have some skill set overlap.
There is a little bit.
He could be the backup for Trevon Merrick, right? Meaning big physical safety. He's more, wants to come down and knock people's heads off and do all those sorts of things. I do think the other safety that plays opposite Merrick and maybe opposite Ransom, and maybe they're all out there occasionally, needs to be more center fielder safety, taking advantage of the pass game, because Merrick, for all of the things he's like his brain is like 1/3 linebacker, if that makes any sense. And he's 6'2", 200-something pounds, and Ransom's actually a little bit shorter, but just as heavy. So he's actually kind of a thicker, denser dude, being 6 foot, 200-something pounds. So even with Ransom, I think you bring in more safety help. If Ransom turns into a great coverage safety, and you're really comfortable, if Ransom can do the things Merrick can do coming down, if you're really comfortable putting Merrick in more of a coverage safety spot, because we talked to Dan Morgan before the year this year, and he said he thinks Merrick has more coverage ability than he's shown. Like, whatever it is, I think they need to have a better cover safety than what they showed this year. That was obviously Nick Scott's role, and without picking on Nick Scott too much, there's a lot of passing highlights where he's the back of his jersey is seen chasing.
Also, a lot of long run highlights with.
Very true.
Yeah.
So safety, defensive back as a whole, I'm pleased with, but also let's not make any amends here. They've spent on secondary. It has to be, with how much money they've spent, a strength. It can't just be not a weakness, right? When you pay J.C. Horn how much money you paid him, and last year when, they've kind of alternated, the first offseason for Dan Morgan felt like a very offensive offseason, offensive line, that sort of thing. Last year felt very defensive in their offseason, maybe outside of Merrick with the first-round pick. Or sorry, not Merrick, McMillan with the first-round pick. They spent a lot of money on secondary, right? When you include Mike Jackson with his extension and Merrick with his free agency deal, J.C. Horn with his big contract. Like, it has to be really, really good. Where you spend your money in the NFL has to be obviously fantastic. So, I make this kind of analogy quite often, but you have to grade them with a more strict rubric than you do some other positions, right? Like, just like the teacher that grades the gifted student with all the natural intelligence a little bit more, challenged or a little bit tougher with the grading system than you would somebody who maybe isn't as gifted but is trying as hard as they possibly can. The secondary has to be great, which, by the way, will make the pass rush better, will make the linebackers' job easier, will make the positions that I think they really need to improve this offseason almost look better without actually being better, if that makes any sense.
What about slot corner?
Slot corner?
I mean, we've seen Shaw Smith-Wade, 5th-round pick from last year, 2024, get a lot of snaps there. Like, do you think that there's potential that Corey Thornton
I was just going to say
could play in that spot?
We didn't bring up all of the names. Corey Thornton, to me, is fascinating. He's also another free roll, right? He's an undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
You get to see that for almost nothing. Shaw Smith-Wade has had his moments, both good and bad. I think with how much you're spending on the rest of the secondary, you do kind of like somewhere you're going to have to get by with a little smoke and mirrors, right? Somewhere you're going to you can't have like the highest paid player at all 5 positions in the secondary, or all 6 if you're throwing in a few others. So that's kind of what I'm getting at here, right? If your second safety is a great cover guy, I don't want to say it allows you to get beat a few times, but it is quite literally in the name. It is your safety, right? It is the guy that can hey, he got beat. Instead of a touchdown, let's give up a 20-yard gain, that sort of thing. I'm still very impressed and intrigued with where Corey Thornton goes. I hope he's following a bit of the Jalen Coker timeline without the injury, perhaps at the beginning of year 2, where we're going to hear all of the things about him getting his body right and being invested in. There's a huge difference between undrafted free agent rookie and second-year player who's a little established and has some tape in the NFL and feels more secure. You can, work on yourself within a system much more than just frenetically trying to make the team. So So I think Thornton is an opportunity for a huge glow up next year, assuming he stays healthy and a few other things.
Yeah, he's going to recover from that broken ankle.
Yep. But he was impressive. So I like where the secondary is going. I should, because they're spending money. I want to cover safety. And, yeah, I mean, if they could get a sweet nickel corner in there somehow without using all the resources you need to fix other things, then I'm doing all right with that too.
I think they'll at least draft a safety in the sense of, even if you don't bring Nick Scott back, you had Damani Richardson, but even he was healthy and active for much of the last part of the season because you had Isaiah Simmons playing special teams. So potentially bring him back as a special teamer. But if you don't bring back Nick Scott, and obviously you've kind of waned on Damani Richardson a little bit, you still need just to have another body in there, even if Lathan Ransom is your starter.
I didn't bring up Isaiah Simmons. I'm still fascinated by him. There's a reason why athletes like him get 9 lives in the NFL. And they did say he was practicing with the safeties.
Yeah. I walked by him in the locker room after games.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're different.
Yeah.
You are just different.
Going back to his time at Clemson, his combine and all that, he's an incredible athlete. I'm sure there's reasons why he hasn't worked out at a few other spots, but if they're the one that can unlock that potential, he's a bit of a tweener, but goodness gracious. I don't even know, would you count him towards the secondary? He's kind of like a third special teams, a third linebacker, a third safety. I know he's practicing with the safeties.
Kind of like Trayvon Merrick.
Yeah, I count Merrick more as a safety, but yeah, I guess you're right. He doesn't have the special teams also kind of wearing off on his name. Either way, 75 out of 100. I hope and for how much money they're spending, I hope I'm in the 90s when training camp starts. But for now, 75 out of 100. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Again, we have something Dennis wants to tell you before we get to our blind ranking, which I always look forward to.
Dennis Cox here real quick for Loan Pronto. Low mortgage rates, they're back, folks. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed-rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%, the lowest in years. Smart homeowners, they're taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time, or you can keep your primary mortgage intact and get cash out of your home equity with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards, some car loans, and cut their monthly expenses by $2,000. Call now and see what options work best for you, but don't miss the big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous Rapid Equity Loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks, and you may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal with no hard credit pull. Call 919-381-1760 right now or visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, gets to a blind ranking and start thinking. Hurricanes and cons are coming up. What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes? Fresh off 3 wins. Stick around.
Evan Canty and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The Buffalo Bills have fired head coach Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott did an awesome job in Buffalo, but not good enough. And we have been saying this all year. Sean McDermott should be the coach of an NFL team next year. It should just not be the Buffalo Bills. They have to get someone to win now.
Unsportsmanlike.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
When your check engine light comes on, do you see a repair bill? Or do you see peace of mind? For 20 years, CarShield's been the name America trusts to help keep you on the road. While other companies stop covering you when your car gets older, CarShield offers protection plans up to 200,000 miles. With over $1 billion in claims paid, we don't just promise protection, we deliver it. Don't let a breakdown break your budget. Get the flexible month-to-month coverage you deserve. Go to carshield.com. That's carshield.com today.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing a lawyer, but getting some guy who just watches courtroom dramas.
How does the defendant plead?
Guilty. Wait, what? Also, objection.
You object to what?
Erroneous.
Counsel, approach the bench.
Hey, can I get a whack at the gavel?
You wouldn't settle for just any lawyer, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
At Smith Douglas Homes, we're proud to support our hometown heroes, teachers, healthcare workers, firefighters, and military. As a thank you, receive a $2,500 credit towards your new home purchase. Explore SmithDouglas.com. Smith Douglas, where it's your home, your choice, within reach.
He'll get it across, and the shot hammered by Johnson, and a save by Bussey. That's his best of the night, as Johnson was right in the slot.
Another third period, game on the line, like against Calgary and Winnipeg, where Bussey seems to want the moment.
Yeah, that's my job description. I think, we do a really good job of creating ozone time. So there's a lot of games I'm not going to see a high volume, but I just need to be ready.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. As promised, we are going to do our best to keep you updated on sporting events and things that we talk about here on this show that could potentially be moved or postponed or rescheduled due to the expected weather over the next week or so. Obviously, over the weekend is when the main stuff is supposed to hit us. But and when I say supposed to, I mean based on what I've read from the meteorologists. Trust WRAL and the meteorologists much more than what you hear me say. But I can tell you this. Due to inclement weather expected in the area, the NC Central athletics program has started postponing games. They have postponed games, home basketball games, that were scheduled for tomorrow. That's Thursday, January 22nd. Saturday, that's January 24th. And Monday, January 26th, they've been postponed. Rescheduled dates will be announced later. They are also, look here, they have just a single women's game. So those are all men's games. Women's game against Maryland Eastern Shore on Thursday will also be postponed, I believe. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm just going to read this. The Eagles were initially set to play a single women's game against Maryland Eastern Shore on Thursday, a men's and women's game doubleheader against Delaware State on Saturday, and a men's single game versus Maryland Eastern Shore on Monday. Those are the games that have been rescheduled. Or they haven't been rescheduled. They will be. They've been postponed and then rescheduled. There you go. That's, I assume, the first of a few announcements that we'll be hearing. Who knows when? Obviously, some schools wait a little bit longer. Some jump on top of it. Who knows if there's a right or a wrong way to handle it? But that's NC Central that we were talking about there. Again, before you brave the elements, if you are going to brave the elements out to a sporting event, double and triple check to make sure it hasn't been postponed or rescheduled. I don't want anybody risking anything, especially if the game isn't being played. And then on top of that, even if the game is being played, if you're not comfortable out there, don't drive if you don't have to, or you don't feel comfortable doing it. There you go. That's my little PSA there. Now, Dennis, how about we go ahead and here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly, jump into a blind ranking.
All right, for today's blind ranking, Tim doesn't even know the subject, by the way.
I do not. I'm excited to hear.
We are going to blind rank potential trade targets for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Trade targets? I like it.
Yes, potential trade targets for the Carolina Hurricanes. So I'm going to give you a list of names. I'm going to give you 5 names. They're going to be in random order. You have to blindly rank them 1 through 5. You don't know the 5 names, obviously. That's why it's called a blind ranking. Are you ready, sir?
Born ready.
All right, first name I'm going to give you, Artemi Panarin, New York Rangers.
All right.
Forward, and winger, goal scorer.
And just to be clear here, I don't get any context, meaning is there a extension?
Nope. Just straight target.
A cost?
Just straight target. You're just ranking the player.
Yep. It's just he's on an expiring contract, but he's also, 34, 35? I'm I'm not there. I'm not. Give me a 5. Give me a 5.
Really? You're 5 on Panarin.
I don't like the rental element of it. It's a winger, right? Which I don't put as the main need for this team right now. I'm assuming the Rangers want a ton there. So I'm in, I guess, building in, I don't know if this is against the rules, what I think the cost would be, and I don't think it's worth it to give up maybe younger, bigger parts of the future for a guy like Artemi Panarin. So I'm putting him number 5, and I hope I don't regret it.
Okay, just a guy that scores a lot of goals.
He does, and would probably do so for 3 months and then leave.
Okay, all right. Artemi Panarin, you have him ranked at number 5.
I did look up his age, by the way. We're
34.
We're born in the same year, so I really hate doing the whole like he's so old. How much longer can he be effective? He's ancient.
I feel the same way when I look at Brent Burns. Trust me. All right, next one up here on the blind ranking list of potential trade targets for the Carolina Hurricanes. Also to the New York Rangers, Vincent Trocheck.
All right. Trocheck is a tough one. If
he's been here and done it.
He has, which is why I think it's a little bit more attractive, because you're right, you expect there won't be as much of a Kane system adjustment period. He is positionally more attractive, meaning he plays center. He's right-handed, which helps as well there. I don't love the contract. So I'm going to put him 3, but I am going to assume that you can work out something where they retain some of the cap. And I mean, we've talked about this off air. I don't think the Canes should be trading for more forwards that are like 180 pounds because they have so many. It's obvious that the Canes don't mind having a bunch of guys that are 180 pounds because they have a bunch of them. I think I am a little bit more. I'm leaning towards they need size and physicality and all that. Not saying Trocheck isn't, but it's just hard to be when you're don't have that much weight to throw around. So yes, if they retain some of the cap hit, he is a right-hand shot center, so he gets a little boost there, and he ends up in 3rd.
All right, so you have Vincent Trocheck, you just put him at 3. You had Artemi Panarin, you put him at number 5. Again, blind ranking potential trade targets for the Carolina Hurricanes. Next on this list is Jordan Binnington, St. Louis Blues goaltender.
That one's fascinating. I don't know his contract off the top of my head, but I have had a few conversations with people about him.
He has 1 more year left on his contract after this year. Again, you're blind ranking the player.
Yeah. No, I know, but it's a trade target. You're not just trading for if you remove all context, then we just line up like McDavid or something. Be like my number 1 trade target, no context. I'm putting Binnington 2. I obviously am a fan of Bussy. I am nervous of just, assuming that how Brandon Bussy is playing through his first 25 starts will continue forever and ever and ever. Who knows better than the Canes that you need as many goaltenders as possible over the last few years. So Binnington, I think, is a good one. Some people I trust in the hockey world are very high on Binnington. So I'm gonna kind of co-sign some of what they say, and another year and a half of Binnington, I'm okay with that. Again, I don't know the price, but I like adding goalies.
Okay, so you put Artemi Panarin at number 5. You put Vincent Trocheck at number 3. You put Jordan Binnington at number 2, which gives you number 4 and number 1 available next year on the blind ranking. Next person is Robert Thomas, St. Louis Blues center.
I have to admit, I wasn't all the way on the Robert Thomas train. But I've been convinced by some people that are really, really into it. He's another young player. He's under long-term contract. He is a center. He is a right-hand shot. He would likely be extremely expensive in a trade, but I don't have to necessarily deal with that right now in this mythical game we're playing.
Can also kill penalties and play in the power play.
Yeah, no, he feels Keynesy. He's not quite as big as I was hoping, but he is young, which is nice. Fits in kind of with the window with a lot of the other guys. And he's under contract 5 more years.
He's got 5 more years. So he's through 2030, 2031. So he's in year 3 of an 8-year contract.
I do think you have just a hammer to round this one up, but I'm putting Robert Thomas at number 1.
You're putting him number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's positional value there. There's term on the contract. There's obviously an ability, a versatility. Yes, I'm putting him number 1.
Okay, so you put Artemi Panarin at number 5.
There's a couple guys that if I hear him here, I'm just going to be furious at myself, not at you, at myself. But go ahead.
You put Artemi Panarin at number 5. You put Vincent Trocheck at 3. You put Jordan Binnington, the goaltender, at 2. You put Robert Thomas, the center, at number 1, which means number 4 goes to Calgary Flames center Nazem Kadri.
Okay, that's not the end of the world. I was thinking you might go like true ridiculousness on the last one, like just an all-time stud.
Like whom?
Jason Robertson.
Yeah.
That's for some.
I don't think they're trading him.
I don't either. But for some reason, Jason Robertson is like my from Hot Tub Time Machine, Great White Buffalo. Like I've talked myself into him so many times. He's like the one that got away. Kadri's good. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's solid. Again, not the size I'm looking for. But I'm all right. That plays the right position. I'd rather have Robert Thomas though. So I'll put Kadri there at 4 and not be too mad at this list.
Nazem Kadri has a nastiness to him though,
which I do think the Canes need.
Like a nastiness.
But I'm not sure. Again, I don't know his contract.
He has 3 more years after this year at $7 million per.
Ooh.
Still play.
I put him up near 40 years old.
He's 35 right now.
Okay, so maybe not quite as near, but still. I do think the Canes need edge, but I think you can find that for cheaper. Again, without knowing the deal there. But I'm all right with this. I'm not upset at this list at all. I do think Trocheck maybe got a little extra love, but he's got the history, so you're fine there. A lot of it is position oriented. A lot of centers he gave me. And without knowing, like, I feel like a rich guy is what I feel like, right? I didn't have to hear any of the prices to buy things. Like, give me Robert Thomas. Like, in this exercise, I don't have to address that it probably took some players I really like going in the other direction to make that trade happen. I'm just like, yeah, throw him number 1. What do you think?
Like, if you go for Robert Thomas, that's a top line center from St. Louis. I ain't gonna be cheap.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying.
Ain't gonna be cheap at all.
If you told me prices on these, I think the order might be different. If you said like Robert Thomas 4 and you explained what you think the value would be or what you'd have to give up, he might drop down. But that's not the game we were playing, Dennis. What would you do? Like with full hindsight, meaning you get to look and you know the name's coming. What list? How would you order this list?
How would I order that list?
Not blind rank, so it's not like you got to put them in at the time. Who do you want most out of that 5?
Might be Thomas.
Yeah.
I actually might put Kadri second.
The middle 3, I think, are as much, like, not necessarily quality of player. It's as much about the context, right? Like, I think Binnington is how much do you think they need a goalie? Like, I don't think that, like, is he better or worse than Kadri is impossible to, like, it's apples to roofing shingles. It's not even apples to oranges. Trocheck, it's how much do you value somebody that's been in the building and is already vibed with some guys. And then Kadri is how much do you think they need edge? I think
can also score, by the way.
Correct. But so can, maybe Trocheck a little less, but all the skaters you gave me can score. Binnington hopefully would not be asked to do that. Either way, I'm fine with my list. Sound off in the comments if you think I messed up completely. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I do want to stick on Canes trades for a second here, because I'm ironically going to call out fans that do exactly what we just did. I'm not calling them out, but I'm just saying it's an incomplete exercise. Every single trade conversation you have should, unless you're just having fun like we were just there, right? Just like thought exercises and seeing what you value. That's all good, like as experiments to help you make your final decisions. But trade conversations, and this goes for every sport, but definitely for the Canes right now, have to include both sides of the equation and have to include realistic thinking, okay? David Pagnotta, guy that covers the entire NHL, put out did some reporting on the Canes, and I'm just going to read. He was on the fourth period, and I'm just going to read a sentence that has gone kind of viral. The Hurricanes continue to explore options. The team is still shopping forward Jesperi Kotkaniemi, but young defenseman Alexander Nikishin is believed to be up for grabs if they were to land a big fish. He said that 2 days ago on fourth period. And that has moved to Nikishin is available. He's available. And I think all of those conversations are incomplete unless, because the question is always, why would Nikishin be available? Is Nikishin available? It's an incomplete question because you need to say what's on both sides of the equation. Is Nikishin available? The only proper answer is for who? Right? There's been some reporting that he was in the package offered for Quinn Hughes. Guess what? Adding Quinn Hughes to the question is a major change to the question. Is Alexander Nikishin available for Trocheck? Is a very different question than is Nikishin available for Quinn Hughes? Right? And you need both sides. I don't believe Alexander Nikishin is available unless it is one of those dudes. Right? Unless it is one of those, well, shoot, yeah, for that guy. Right? That's it. That's all. I don't think they're shopping him. I don't think they're calling, what would you give me for Nikishin? I don't think they're doing any of that. I think he's too good. I think his ceiling is too high. I think his age is too early to consider even putting a cap on what he might be one day. So when the question is, who's available for the Canes at the deadline, the answer is probably more harrowing than you want, right? Maybe a guy you bought a jersey for, but also understand that's only if you're getting back somebody that changes, it's franchise altering. If you're just looking for a depth center, or you're bringing up a guy who can play some top 6 minutes for you, I don't think any of those guys would be included, the ones that would make you scared. Right? But there are difference makers in the NHL, true paradigm shifters in the NHL, and to get one of those, yeah, you're going to have to give up something that really hurts to give up. Put it in reverse, right? Think about the best players on the Canes, right? Because when you're asking for a Quinn Hughes, you're asking for the best player. So think about what it would cost, what you would be okay, or what you would even entertain in a trade for one of the Canes' best players. You're not going well, give me your underperforming guy that once showed potential, a couple of picks, and a fourth liner, and we'll give you our one of our 3 best players. Well, why would any other NHL organization do that for you? Okay, so is Nikishin available? The correct answer is, if you're going to give back McDavid, the correct answer is yes, for the right prize. For darn near everybody, no, he's not.
Remember, it took Natchez to get Rantanen.
It took Natchez to get Rantanen.
And Drury.
And
more.
Yeah, I was going to say. And there was the whole other side of that trade. And that's with an unhappy Natchez. Or a rumored to be a little frustrated Natchez, however you want to put it on the anger spectrum. So think about that is what I'm getting at. I think the Canes call about darn near everybody, and we've heard that they have, right? They were in the mix for Quinn Hughes. They were in the mix for so many dudes. So many dudes. And yes, the really good ones come with a really heavy price. So it's fun to do like what we just did for blind ranking, right? Do you want Robert Thomas to just in a vacuum go, yes? Would love to have him. Be fantastic. It's a completely other thing to say, do you want to give up X, Y, and Z in order to acquire Robert Thomas? And quite frankly, if you're not a little like apprehensive when you're pulling the trigger on those big trades, they're probably completely unrealistic. Right? It's in any trade or in any interaction, it probably makes you a little nervous if you send over the offer like, hey, what do you think about this? And they write back, deal, sold. Like 2 seconds later, you're probably like, ooh, never mind. No, I don't want to do it. Like a good trade in a professional sports league is like hemmed and hawed over on both sides. If they're giving you their prized player, they're going to go, did we get enough? And if you're getting their prized player, they're probably asking for so much that you're like, geez, are we paying too much? Like, obviously, there are certain players. You think Jordan Stahl, you think Sebastian Aho, you think Jacob Slavin, right? Seth Jarvis, guys that are so ingrained in your franchise that, you know, you quote-unquote untouchable is a word used. Yeah. Is Alexander Nikishin in that group? No. Is he in the group of, if he's traded, I think there will be another fan base that is even more mad that they gave up the player that he was traded for? Probably. So all I ask, and I said this earlier, right? I said this maybe earlier this week, probably last week. They all blend together. Like I'm a fan. I am a nerd. I am a sucker for a trade proposal, right? I love all the hypothetical trades you all are coming up with. The only thing I ask is that you give me both sides of the trade. Right? Do you think we should bring in Trocheck is half a question. Do you think we should bring in Trocheck 4 and you give the rest, if whatever it is, picks and prospects, better tell me how many. If it's a player that's up on your main roster now, who is it? Are they retaining salary? Like, all of that needs to be a part of the conversation. Unless it's Jason Robertson and the risk case. Yes. Then it's yes. And I'll deal with the ramifications of the price later.
Well, as Boris in our YouTube live chat points out, if you're going to trade a guy like Nikishin, it would have to be for someone whose addition would push the Canes over the top and win the cup.
Yes.
Like you're not giving up Nikishin for pennies.
Correct.
And parts.
And it would especially if the player is significantly older than Nikishin, it's putting a wild amount of pressure to win now. Right? Then the everybody's like chips in. Like you've there's your bet. You know what I mean? Obviously, if it's another younger player, and it doesn't have to be 23. If it's 26 or younger, you still have the window and it's still you're not mortgaging the future. But if you trade anybody for somebody like 30 plus and you're trading a guy who's 7-8 years younger, yeah, that puts so much more pressure to go win a cup right now. Which, by the way, some fans have been clamoring for the team to go all in, make the all in move, and try to win a cup right now rather than always thinking about the future. I don't think the Canes would do that, but if they do, it ups every kind of pressure. So like, is Nikishin available? I guess technically the answer is yes, but I would assume he's only available if, like I said, being in a Quinn Hughes package. Being in a trade package that would bring back Quinn Hughes does not mean you're available. That might have been the most reluctant offer in the history of offers. I hate to do it, but in this case, how do you not? I don't want to. Let me sleep on it. Fine. Okay, we'll include him. Like, I think you're dealing with that kind of stuff. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. But keep sending me the full trade offers, and I'd love to dissect those. They're always a good time. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Dennis Cox has something for you.
I do. Dennis Cox here for my good friends over at Law Tigers. Speaking of hockey, speaking of fandom, imagine pulling up to a Canes game possibly later on this spring or maybe when next season rolls around and get for your own custom Caniacs motorcycle. That's right, because the Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. The date to enter, it's March 29th, but don't wait till then, folks. Go ahead and enter now. Go to caniacsbike.com. Again, caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win. The bike will be given away live on April 4th at the game, and it includes tickets and a catered suite. That in and of itself is worth the entry alone. Tickets and a catered suite, plus potentially a motorcycle as well. Again, a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter. Again, caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, looks at the future of college sports and how much it is up for grabs right here at the moment. Stick around.
Listen for the oh my goodness.
Sears pulls up left wing three. Ring it up. A dagger. A dagger by Sears.
They got postered.
Rebound battled for. Picked down Badunga. Rejected emphatically by Coleman Hawkins.
One in the what?
Maddox for Xavier. He'll throw a bounce pass in the lane for a two-handed jam.
The road to Indianapolis runs through 99.9 The Fan.
Pondering prizes with Cash Pop? Why pick just one pop when you can pick as many pops as you please? Up to 15. Picture this. You pick your pop, perhaps a powerful 7. Now pick more pops like a proud 9, a pristine 15, a perfect 10. Each pop propagates more potential to pack your pockets with prizes up to $2,500. So prepare for a peppering of prizes with Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Cash Pop. Play more pops. Win more prizes. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds charts at nclottery.com. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543. It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What? You expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, and there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the K-Yow Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. I'm Jenny Palmentier, CEO of the K-Yow Cancer Fund. From now through January 31st, Triangle area Bojangles will donate all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K-Yow Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry, do some good, and get something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
Hey, it's Amanda here, back again with my friend Coach Pete. Coach, what is the difference between good debt and bad debt?
Well, I hate all debt, but yeah. Good debt is like when you buy a house.
Okay.
So you go into debt, but you have a house. You have the house to show for it. As long as you make your payments, you'll never be kicked out of your house, and you're building equity. Bad debt is credit card debt, where you really have nothing to show for it. I mean, can you think of all the stuff? You see these credit card bills come, and you say, gosh, what did I get for all that? Meals, maybe? Because it's so easy to spend that money. And when McDonald's started taking credit cards, their costs went way up. We used to take a $1 gift certificate and get a full meal when I was little. Now you couldn't even get, I don't know, for $1, you might not even get anything. I was going to say an ice cream cone. No, that's probably 2 or 3. And the ice cream machine's broken.
Oh, so that's the difference between good and bad debt.
So let's make sure to look at your debt and put you in charge of your retirement.
Okay.
Folks, call now. We'll put a total retirement plan together for you and give you a free book.
919-794-7900 or always text Amanda to 600-700.
Amanda Daughtry is a paid spokesperson. Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have reached a point that I never thought we'd reach. For years. Matter of fact, I can tell you nearly exactly how many years. It was late 2014, I believe. So we're looking at over a decade. Was the first time on a radio show. It was a very small market. I don't know. I'm not 100% anybody was actually listening. But it was the first time I called myself the lead activist for players' rights. I used to say I was going to put my lead activist for players' rights hat on when we started talking about things about players potentially being paid or how college athletes were being treated in college sports. And I was always, even if I personally didn't love it, I always was advocating for players to have more options, players to have more autonomy, players to have more ability to earn money, all of it. And through all of NIL developing, through all of the transfer portal developing, through COVID years developing, and everything else, I stayed true to that. And part of it was this logic that they're adults, right? I've said it a billion times, right? There's not any other industry where a 20-year-old can't make a decision about where to work or where to live. That right? It's like, why were athletes being treated with these kid gloves? Like, oh, they can't make decisions for themselves. We better put all these regulations in to prevent them from themselves. And as a former athlete, I took like insult to that, going like, wait, you're telling me musicians can get millions of dollars and they can, go sign with whatever label they want to sign with. They can get paid all the money. Nobody's watching. Even when athletes started getting paid, right? When NIL became a thing, what did everybody say? Well, if athletes are going to get paid, coaches have to be responsible for making sure they're educated on how to pay taxes and all this. And I'm going like, if they want to, sure. But does any industry take their young employees and go, you're not allowed to get paid unless you follow, you check off these, you take all these classes on how to make sure you're handling your money right? Or there was a huge groundswell for if they get paid, they should have to put it into an account that they can't touch till they get their degree. Why? So I've had these conversations a billion times, and I've always been players. There's a few things going on in college sports right now that are making me take off my lead activist for players' rights hat. And I'm siding now with the schools and with the NCAA and with the conferences. One of them is what's going on with Darian Mensah at Duke. Another is what's going on with, I apologize if I mispronounce it, Charles Bediako with Alabama. He's a basketball player. This is where I cross the bridge and I start arguing against myself of the last 10-plus years. I am, for all the reasons I've explained over the last decade plus, for athletes being able to make all of their own decisions. I am against regulations and guardrails, right, to prevent them from making bad decisions. But, right, there's always the big but in the middle of the sentence. But part of being treated like an adult is being treated like an adult, right? Part of taking the training wheels off is you have to deal with the responsibility of consequence. You have to be held accountable. You have to deal with the consequences of your actions. Now, Bediako of Alabama, this is what's happened here. He played for 2 years at Alabama, played college basketball for 2 years, declared for the NBA draft, went undrafted. It's a bad decision. Ends up in the G League, plays in the G League for 2 years, signs multiple NBA contracts, the two-way contracts, the 10-day contracts, doesn't actually play in the NBA, but signs multiple NBA contracts. He's going back to Alabama. And he's going to play at Alabama because there's a temporary restraining order saying that he can't be ineligible. What are we doing here? Now, Darian Mensah. He's at Tulane. He goes in the transfer portal. That's all well and good. I'm in favor of the portal, even if I don't always love the way it's used. He goes in the transfer portal. He commits to Duke. He gets paid a certain amount of money, but the contract is for multiple years. He signs the contract for NIL rights and everything, and it's a multi-year contract. By the way, Darian Mensah was very attractive in the portal last year, right? If he wanted to go somewhere else and sign a one-year deal, if he wanted to likely take less money, Duke probably would have given him a one-year deal. He could have done all that, but he decided to sign the multi-year deal. You might argue that's a bad decision. You might argue it's the right decision to give him stability. You can argue whatever you want, but now this year he's going, no, actually, I want to leave. And he made the decision We've removed the guardrails, the things that didn't let athletes choose for themselves, right? It used to be you'd made a decision when you were 17, you signed your letter of intent, and you were stuck there unless you wanted to sit out a year. We've removed that. We let you make your decisions, and this is what you did, and now you're acting as if there's no repercussions or you can just willy-nilly go back on things. If you declare for the NBA draft, as the rules stated, you give up your college eligibility. That wasn't a surprise. That wasn't a change. Like it's not, you get caught speeding at a place that you've driven 100 times, and it's always been a 55, and in the last week they changed it to a 45. There was no switching up. There was no, at the time, these were the rules. You made a decision. Now you don't want to live with it. And listen, I will feel for you. Right? If you're a college athlete, you get bad advice from somebody. They say to go pro, you're going to be a first-round pick. You go pro, you're not a first-round pick. I will feel for you. Right? I will be empathetic. But I'll also understand you knew the risk of declaring to go pro. And that would be that you don't end up where you want to be in the draft, and you've lost all your eligibility. Darian Mensah, signing a multi-year contract, it's kind of obvious there, right? Well, what if I want to leave after 1 year? Well, what does the contract say you can do, right? It's no different than like a lease or something, right? Yeah, if you leave early, you break the lease. In that lease, there's going to be a list of things that you would have to do to break that lease, and it might be paying the rest of the rent or whatever it is, right? Depending on how your lease is written. You have to face the consequences of your actions, of your decisions, and expecting not to because, I'm just a college athlete, I'm not buying. And by the way, Darian Mensah made millions of dollars last year. Millions. Okay? That comes with a certain level of, that contract is being fulfilled. Right? I would be completely on the other side. By the way, like in this specific situation is when I'm on the football team side, the program side. If there was a very similar decision being made, but the school wasn't holding up their end of the contract, I would be equally on the other side. One of the things I want most out of whatever changes come to college is I want mutually accountable. One of the things I hated about our old setup was players that were on scholarship could have their scholarship taken away at any point in time, but they couldn't transfer at any point in time. It was one-sided, and I hated that, right? If you transferred, you had to sit out a year, but if the school decided they want to pick up your scholarship next year, they could just bail, and I hated that, right? So if schools start making NIL deals and signing contracts and not fulfilling them, not paying the money, then yeah, I want the players to have the same ability to go get their lawyer and sue the heck out of the team. But if you sign a 2-year deal and there's no you weren't coerced into it, you weren't forced into it, right? All of that can be settled. I think you got to live out the 2-year deal because that's what adults do. Or you pay or do whatever it says in the contract you need to do to break it.
Yeah, like you see it with college coaches that go to another school. There's a buyout. Okay, I want to leave and break this contract early. I got to pay you X amount of dollars.
And if they say it's for cause, you have every right to get your lawyers together and say, nope, it is not. And then it's settled in court. Those are how things are handled. And obviously, in the contract that Mensah signed, there was no pay X amount of dollars and you can leave. Should there have been? Probably. But it's not there. And that's on you and your lawyer. And you wouldn't be the first adult in America to not have full protections put in a contract by your lawyer. Part of the reason why we need better agents. But that's a whole other story. And Bediako, you can't just go back.
Yeah, the Alabama basketball player, that one to me, you and I were talking about this in our cubicle area, a few hours ago before the show, was that he's been ruled eligible, even again, like you said, went to the NBA draft, wasn't selected, but signed multiple NBA contract, two-way deal, G League, all that kind of stuff. You're a pro.
Mm-hmm.
College, 2 years, pro, couple years, and all of a sudden you're back in college. Who's to say that name your player from NC State football.
Name C.J. Bailey.
C.J. Bailey. Let's say for some reason he doesn't get drafted. If he decides to go to the NFL this season, doesn't get drafted, he says, you know what? I want to go back.
And
who's to say no, you can't now? I didn't sign a pro contract.
Yes.
Who says you can't?
And those rules could change, okay? Like perhaps college says you can go into the draft, and as long as you don't sign your contract and as long as you don't accept or you don't play in any games or whatever it is, you can go back and play in college. Maybe
like
that happens. Hockey, it happens. You see it in Major League Baseball where they're drafted and they finish out like the rest of that postseason sometimes. Maybe those rules will change. That doesn't change the fact that when you made your decision, you knew what the rules were at that time, and now you don't want to deal with the consequences. Or you think you don't have to. And that's where I don't like it. I don't like it. And I've told this story on air a bunch of times, probably because it still annoys me all these years later. I played 12 plays my freshman year at the end of a blowout, and I tried to say no. I was the second string quarterback. I was a true freshman walk-on, and they tried to put me in, and I tried to say no, I want to preserve my red shirt. And the way it was iterated to me was walk-ons that ask not to play, never play. And I went, all right, I'm going in the game. Looking back, I wish I would have stood my ground and said no, because I don't think it would have changed anything. I don't think, the next day they would have said, oh, you're off the team. I think it would have been the same. But guess what? I made the decision to let them bully me a little bit and go into the game. So my career ended in 4 years when all my buddies ended in 5 because they got that red shirt. Imagine if at the end I just went, nope, I don't think that's a rule anymore. That's not how adults operate. You graduate, you go about life. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, little transition here. Let's talk some watches, something that'll get my optimism, my energy back up. Bailey's Fine Jewelry and the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, which is located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location in Raleigh, are proud to have one of the wildest, and I say that as a positive adjective, selections of Omegas that I've ever seen. They are the official timekeeper of the Olympic Games and have been since 1932, and you see why as soon as you walk in that Omega showroom. The Speedmasters are incredible. They're iconic. They're moon watches. The Seamasters, diving watches, but really they're the watch for your favorite movie, Spy. Yes, the one you're thinking of. Some of the dress watches absolutely class you up in ways you didn't know were possible. Bailey's Fine Jewelry is proud to feature the largest Omega showroom, which offers an unmatched opportunity to explore the brand's full collection. Talk to the experts at Bailey. Let them put it on your wrist. You feel powerful. And then you take it off. You put on a different model. You feel more powerful. Omega doesn't just keep time. It defines it. And there's no better place to experience the full legacy of Omega, especially in an Olympic year, than right there at Bailey's, home to the largest Omega showroom and an unrivaled luxury watch experience. Check them out and make sure they know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. We have the starting 5 coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Move your sports day forward.
The goal for the Carolina Hurricanes in the remaining games before the Olympic break, simple. Replenish those reverse Uno cards. The tilting the ice and playing catch-up from allowing early goals or silly penalties needs to stop in the third period. Put the hammer down early. And please, please, please don't let Stanky or Jarvie go a game without a single shot.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hello, I'm John Heister for John Heister Chevrolet in Fuquay Arena. And people are asking us, how are you selling so many cars all of a sudden? Well, did you know that the Beltline has opened up the outer loop? We're only 28 minutes from Knightdale. We're only 19 minutes from Clayton and 15 minutes from Apex. We're now the most convenient Chevrolet dealership to reach in the Triangle. It's just one more reason to get off your keister and come to Heister.
Now at John Heister Chevrolet, get up to $20,000 off a new 2025 Silverado 1500 RST. See dealer for details. Together, let's drive.
Hi, Greg Talbot with Strategic Tax Resolution. Tax enforcement and defense strategies have changed a lot over the last year. After nearly 5 years, the IRS has restarted automated collections. You could be next for bank levies and wage garnishments. Ignoring the issue is not an option. Call 984-272-2600 to get protected. Do you have unfiled returns or tax debt? We work directly with the IRS and states so you don't have to. Let us use our proven strategies and experience with the IRS and state to resolve your tax issue. Qualified clients have cut their tax debt by more than 90%. How would that feel? Act now to learn the latest updates to tax relief programs. Your eligibility may not be the same. Strategic Tax Resolution. Local, trusted, A+ rated by the BBB. Call 984-272-2600. Ask for me, Greg Talbot. 984-272-2600. You've got a guy on your side. StrategicTaxResolution.com. Get relief.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. Tonight will be milder with lows in the low to mid 30s with more clouds, but we do warm up a bit Thursday. Highs back near 60 with a small chance for rain both Thursday and Friday. A winter storm watch goes into effect Saturday afternoon and will continue through Monday.
This hour of the drive brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell today, up 588 points to 49,077.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will get to the starting five, but first, NC Central has some basketball games being postponed. They have basketball games that were scheduled for Thursday. That's tomorrow, January 22nd. This Saturday, January 24th, and Monday, January 26th. Have been postponed. Rescheduled dates will be announced later. This obviously due to the weather. And as we hear more, if there are more reschedules and postponements for athletic events in the area, we will pass that along to you. But I wanted to make sure anybody planning on catching some NC Central basketball the rest of this weekend and over the weekend to Monday, they have been postponed. Rescheduled dates will be announced later. With that being said, let's jump into the starting five, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So the NFL is not waiting till the offseason to get the fireworks rolling. 10 head coach openings, some of them already filled. The reason I say it like that is I think there is I don't know, perhaps too much credit and blame going to specifically head coaches, but head coaches and coordinators. Ready for this? And this applies to the Panthers, but it applies to every NFL team. I think the roster is more important and not getting enough of the credit and blame for things that are going well and poorly in the NFL. Right? When teams are playing bad, you fire the coach. And I'm going like, I don't know, would a good coach have done better with that roster? Right? When things are going well, the coach becomes a genius. And I'm going, I don't know. Could you really do that poorly with that roster? There's some dudes on there. So I think what we're going to see and what we should see and what teams like the Giants, what teams like the Bills are getting kind of really wrong in this hiring cycle. I think you want your GM and your coach to be almost tied to the hip. And it's what I like about Dan Morgan and Dave Canales. Right? If Dave Canales has success as a head coach and becomes a guy that's here for a long time, I I think a lot of that credit should probably go to the roster, which will be put together by Dan Morgan. So you want your input, right? You want to be connected. You want John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan vacationing together or whatever they do as best friends. Like, you want that connection because, like, let's be real. Sean McDermott was fired from the Bills because he couldn't get Josh Allen over the hump. He had the worst roster the Bills have had in years this year. And Brandon Beane, their GM, got promoted. So, yeah, I'm looking at all of these openings and going, I don't know, those rosters that we're losing. Did the coach have a chance? I'm not saying you shouldn't have fired the coach, but I'm saying that your plans for the next one better be to have a better roster. And that's why I like the Dan Morgan-Dave Canales relationship, because they do seem like they genuinely believe in each other and they genuinely, respect each other's opinions and everything. So if they build together, be darned where the credit goes. But, if one's going to succeed, the other has to succeed kind of deal. Like, I already don't like did you see the Giants hire Harbaugh, which I think is a great hire. I think John Harbaugh is a really good coach, but there's already like friction, right? That he was. The reports were that the reason it took so long to sign the contract is because he didn't want to report to Joe Schoen, the GM. He wanted to go straight to ownership. He wanted final say on some things. Joe Schoen is already saying, like, oh, the reporting structure is just on paper. That has nothing to do with how we actually operate. And it's like, I don't know if I want those battle lines drawn between my coach and GM before they even spend a week together. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
The Baseball Hall of Fame announced 2 making this year's class. In addition, by the way, to Jeff Kent, who went in with one of the special earlier voting categories. Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran, both Hall of Fame inductees. I'll get the, I think, relatively simple one, meaning simple conversation, out of the way first. Andrew Jones is perhaps the greatest defensive center fielder I've ever watched. Maybe not the most impressive player at the plate, although he was consistent for a long time on some really, really good Braves teams. Him getting in, I think it's appropriate. I don't think he was a first ballot. If you wanted to make him wait until he had a couple more years eligibility, congratulations, you won. But he is a Hall of Famer. Unbelievable GOAT, like maybe the most important person to the Web Gems era of college or of covering baseball. Shout out to Carl Ravitch. Carlos Beltran's more interesting. Not because he's not a Hall of Fame quality player. He absolutely was. Although as a Mets fan, I wish he would have taken the bat off his shoulder in the World Series. But that's, you're going to lose the World Series looking strikeout? Come on now. But that's not why I'm bringing him up. By darn near every report about the Astros sign-stealing scandal, he was on the staff there. He was like one of the integral parts. He may have even come up with, depending on which report you read, he may have been in the room where it happened as far as coming up with the actual signs. Like, should we whistle? Should we clap? Should we yell attaboy? What if we bang on trash cans? Like, he was part of the engineers of it all. Again, by most reporting. In years past, it hasn't taken much more than this person was a part of cheating by most reporting to keep someone out of the Hall of Fame. Now, it's a different kind of cheating, right? It's not steroids. It's not betting on baseball. It's not any of these things that have become the third rail. But make no mistake about it, it is cheating. And him being involved in it and still going in does open up the pot. Like, wait a second, if you can cheat in that way, why can't you cheat in this way and make it to the Hall of Fame? It opens up some very interesting precedent putting Carlos Beltran in. And I don't know how you can separate the player from the person after who is a coach or whatever, because like Pete Rose, the player, you know what I mean? Like it was when he was a manager that he got banned from baseball. Hall of Fames are fascinating to me. Do you know what I think we should do like every 5 years?
What's that?
Make every voter pass some form of test to keep their vote.
Such as?
Some current baseball knowledge, some lucidity test. It's kind of like I don't know, like your driving test or something. Like you got to take a eye test every now and then, right? Like you got to just show that you still have the ability to do it. Like I think that baseball especially, you got some voters there that, you know, still long for the days of the dead ball era, and it's like you got to be able to talk about every era. You know what I mean? Why are you keeping steroid users out? Okay. Why did you vote for Carlos Beltran? Would be like a really simple question I would ask most of the voters. Because like Manny Ramirez, his eligibility wore out for like that. This was his last chance.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best right-handed, like all-round hitter that I watched in my youth. I get why he's not in there, but I don't understand why the logic would be different for Beltran. Disrespected the game, cheated, all those things. Like, anything different?
It's funny what people get selected when it comes to outrage.
Yeah. Andrew Jones, though, he's just an awesome defensive center fielder that was pretty darn good at the plate for some really good teams. Hall of Famer. By the way, next year's class, there's like a weird lull, and guys, there's not great options next year for first-time eligible either. Weird lull and guys retiring. With that being said, that's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Let's do that hockey.
The Carolina Hurricanes were back at practice today, getting ready for tomorrow's action. Dennis, what's the update on, if I didn't see the post-practice quotes, if there were any from Rod Brindamore. I did see who was skating and who wasn't, but what's the latest?
So, no, Eric Robinson got injured in the game against the Buffalo Sabres on Monday. He actually did show up to practice in a sling, sat on the bench for a little bit. Rob Brindamore said that probably going to be out for an extended period of time. So there's that. Shane Gostisbehere did not practice today. Rob Brindamore is hopeful that he can skate soon. Just kind of a lingering lower body injuries that he's been dealing with much of this season.
Okay.
But everyone else at practice other than those two. Well, I guess Noah Phillips still in the concussion protocol.
Yeah, that one's going on a while.
Yeah.
We'll see, but darn. Sling at practice is never a great sign because traditionally, and I don't know if this is how it plays out in the NHL, but I know in other sports, if you're working towards getting back, like you're rehabbing and there's something, a lot of times when they're at practice, you'll be doing that sort of thing with the trainers because before and after practice, the trainers are working with the guys that are practicing. So you get like, however many hours of like all in, let's get you back, let's get you ready. So if you're just at practice watching, that usually means like, oh, there's nothing I can do to get better right now. I just got to wait this thing out, and it takes some time. Again, that's just cliche for some other sports, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same for hockey. Again, like I said, they do play tomorrow, which is obviously fun. It's home against Chicago, so we'll see how the weather plays out and all that kind of stuff. They also play Saturday at Ottawa, so travel and everything. But tomorrow at home versus Chicago, 7 p.m. start on that one. You can hear it right here on 99.9 The Fan.
Watch Connor Bedard.
Watch Connor Bedard. You know what we should start?
What's that?
The Logan's Better chant.
Logan. Yeah, that's right.
Because that's where it originated from.
That's how
right?
it did.
It was juniors for Logan Stankoven. He said they won that game handily when he played Bedard's team back in whatever youth league that was.
I can actually pull up that soundbite for you.
So just to set it up, Logan Stankoven, obviously a part of the Mikko Rantanen trade. When Mikko Rantanen came to the Lenovo Center, Logan scored a goal where he first juked out Mikko Rantanen, and that led to Logan's Better chant from the Lenovo faithful. He was asked if he had ever heard Logan's Better chants before, and this was his answer.
Actually, I have. When I was playing in Kamloops with my junior team, when Bedard came to town, I think we beat them pretty handily, but the chants were going on there too, so that's actually pretty funny, kind of full circle moment. It's funny to listen to that, but really supportive of the fans here, so it's great.
So, hey, maybe we'll start him up again when Bedard comes through. Now, we'll go ahead and jump. That's tomorrow at 7. Now,
yeah, by the way, if you're at Lenovo Center, that's your mission tomorrow. Just to let you know, Logan's Better.
It's It's a good Easter egg. If Bedard's looking around, I've heard this somewhere. Oh yeah, actually they're not that. I keep thinking that juniors for them was like 4 years ago. They aren't that
not that long.
They're not that old. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us. Williams at the right now for the Pack. Hunter's on him with 4 fouls. 15 to shoot. Drives, basket, feeds, Lubin, hammer time in OT. 76-72 Pack. 68 seconds to play.
NC State on the road beat the 18th ranked team in the country, Clemson, in overtime, 80-76 last night. Massive win for NC State. Big win for their NCAA tournament resume eventually. Big win for net rankings. Big win for their morale. They had not had a quad 1 win as of yet. Big part of that, Van Allen Lubin. 22 points, just 12 shots. Efficiency. Here's Will Wade talking about the big day from his big man.
Van was tremendous. He's just so rock solid for us. He's the one guy that's really reliable and dependable night in and night out. And for him to play so well today, he's just so efficient. 9 out of 12, I believe, from the field. Yeah, 9 out of 12. The 2 free throws were huge. Pressure free throws. Bouncing back from, Georgia Tech, we missed quite a few free throws in our 6-minute game, and we bounced back and made them tonight. So Vin's been just rock solid for us all season.
The one of the best parts about that win is Clemson is a taller team, and State at times don't have a ton of size on the field, on the court. Even if Darian Williams might be a bigger guy, I still look at him as a perimeter player. Kadir Copeland is a really big point guard, but I still look at him as a point guard. They don't have a ton of size out there, and Clemson has 3 different players in their rotation, 6'10", and you didn't really notice. Right, guys like Van Allen Lubin were still effective when the smaller guys got switched onto the bigger guys. They battled like heck on defense. So State found a way to win the game. I said this earlier. In one game, you can't prove consistency, and the knock on State this year has been inconsistency. They've looked really good, and they've had some clunkers kind of right backed up against each other, right, back-to-back games. So it's a good start. Do it 3 or 4 more times in a row, or at least, I also want to, you can lose games while playing consistent, right? If you run up against another team that's also a really good team and they play well, if you're doing things the right way, they're making tough shots, you're doing things the right way, they're not falling for you on a night. You take a team like Kansas, lose by 1, those aren't held against you a ton. But a few too many. Right, a handful of times this year, State has really they've laid some duds. That's what I want to see them avoid for 4, 5, 6 games in a row before we start talking about oh great, they've fixed what was bothering them. I'm not to say nobody played well in those games. Just say as a team there were some real and you don't want those. That's number 2. How about number 1?
The 1. This is a 10-0 Stanford run. Basar changes that with the 3 from straight on.
UNC, Notre Dame, tonight in Chapel Hill, 7 o'clock, opening tip. Listen, Notre Dame is 81st in the net ranking. That's where they are coming into the game. They are one of the worst offensive teams in the ACC. They score near the bottom of the entire conference. Their leading scorer is 6'7". He's a forward, Jalen Harrelson, scores 14 points per game. Their leading perimeter scorer, meaning like guard scorer, Braden Shrewsbury, he is 6'2", and 11 points per game. This is a team that is, on paper, a good matchup for UNC, meaning UNC should have the advantage in a bunch of different ways, which does make it a huge bounce-back opportunity for Carolina to get a win, hopefully not a ton of stress. You win, there's no buzzer beater that could win or lose. It's not a one-score game. That's what you're looking for. Of the players that played, I looked at their most recent game, that played more than 12 minutes in Notre Dame's last game, only 1 is above 6'8" in height. And that player played 22 minutes off the bench. He's 6'10". So if UNC's strength is Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar down low, and they're both 6'10 and above, and they bring a different skill set, meaning varied skill set between the two of them, this appears to be a game where they should be able to do their thing, which is fantastic. But it also means you can win this game if you're Carolina without showing any progress or without fixing the things that are obviously holding you back in other games. And I mean, Stanford is the most obvious, right? The game they lost 2 games ago, where their guards had their way. Their three-point shooting had their way with UNC. But if you look at really their entire ACC schedule, they've been lit up by long-distance shooting, right? By teams getting hot from 3. The leading scorer on the opposing teams have done an incredible job getting open, and teams have done an incredible job getting them open, but that probably means UNC is making it too easy. So looking at Notre Dame, they don't necessarily have the skill set of the teams that Carolina has struggled with the most. But that doesn't mean they can't work towards solving the issues that other teams have taken advantage of. So every win for North Carolina, every possible avenue towards a win for North Carolina tonight is not valued equally. If they win a game, but Notre Dame hits 12 threes, but on the other end, Notre Dame can't stop Vasar and Wilson, so they score 60 between the two of them, that does nothing for me. Or I don't want to say nothing. Every win is important. That does less for me. But if the perimeter does a good job playing defense on Notre Dame and they don't shoot over their averages, they don't score over their averages, and Carolina wins, that I think is worth its weight in gold. That I think is very important. Right? I'm not saying don't depend on Wilson and Vasar. No, keep depending on your best players. But you need to start patching up some of the holes that teams like Stanford and a few others have already exposed.
You see former players questioning and calling out the effort and things along those lines, which is never a good sign.
Correct.
When you hear that, it's like, well, where's the effort? Where's the passion and all that? I'm like, well, Hubert Davis is a former player himself. I'm sure he probably doesn't like hearing that as well. I mean,
I think
to be honest.
It's insulting is what it is. Like take it personally.
Should.
But I do think, correct me if I'm wrong on this, you've actually coached college sports. So I think from a on-court coaching perspective, high school, you have to coach effort, motivate, you have to scheme, and you have to there's no recruiting going on there, but that's kind of your deal. I do think once you get to college, if a coach is imploring you to hustle, what are we doing here? That's on the players. You know what I mean? You're here for a reason. Now you're getting NIL money. It used to be you're on scholarship. Coach shouldn't have to get you going from an effort standpoint, right? If they want to coach you as far as scheme, communication, technique, all those things, I'm with it. But if former players are yelling or complaining about effort, I think that's squarely on the player's shoulders because, did Hubert Davis forget to tell him to run fast? Did he forget to tell him to work hard today? That's not something you should have to be told.
You shouldn't have to be told that, but there's also the enabling of it, though. That's
I'll
the
agree
thing.
with that.
That's 100% on coaching, though. If the tempo and how I go about my work and my practice, in terms of a coach, if I enable that or if I allow that to happen, that is on me as a coach. So if guys are going 90% or I allow 90% in practice and those kinds of things, well, guess what's going to happen in the game? That's a fantastic point.
If you're not taking guys out, if they're not hustling, if you're not making guys run at practice, if they're being lackadaisical, then yes, it is on the coach. I don't think my brain would even let me go to a program like North Carolina not having somebody punishing laziness. But also, it'd be crazy to me if there's too many players at a program like North Carolina that aren't running around and recognizing the responsibility that comes with wearing that uniform. Goodness gracious. If that's true, then, if there are players that are not working as hard as they possibly could or are trying to cut corners or whatever it is, the problems are significantly bigger than what I'm imagining they are. Because right now I just think they have a perimeter that's not doing a great job defensively. They're getting lost. They're not communicating well. That's bad. But if it's like they're not running hard, they're not tired when they're checked out of the game, then, yeah, bigger problem there. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we go ahead and grab our numbers game contestants, Dennis has something he'd like to say.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick from my good friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I know you all have heard me talk about my weight loss journey through Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I've lost over 40 pounds, 42 pounds to be exact, and that's all thanks to the plan at Raleigh Weight Loss Center that they have laid out for you. That's the thing I appreciated about the Raleigh Weight Loss Center program is the fact that they just laid out the plan. Here it is. Here's what you're going to do the first 2 days, the first 3 days. Here's the first week, the second week, the third week, fourth week, all these things, and you just stick with it. And the amazing thing is I've had people ask me, was it hard to stay motivated? Was it hard to continue to put the effort in? Well, I started seeing results right away. I remember in the first couple of weeks, I lost like 15 pounds in the first couple of weeks. Well, when you see the results and you physically feel the results, that's what the motivation keeps you going in that regard. Because I know a lot of people get frustrated when they want to go on a weight loss journey and they're not seeing some results come right away and they get frustrated. Raleigh Weight Loss Center, those results, those pounds, right away, gone. Just started shedding like crazy. Again, I'm down over 42 pounds, and I'm maintaining that weight thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. If you want to know more about the program, give them a call, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up a free 15-minute phone call. Again, free 15-minute phone consultation. If you got questions, concerns, health problems, whatever you might need, bring it all to the table, get your questions answered. That way you can move forward with the plan, knowing that you are going to see results in some way, shape, or form. 919-897-7506 or RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Results may vary.
All right, the Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan needs numbers game contestants because we have Pitbull tickets with Lil Jon. What? At Coastal Credit Union Music Park on May 19th. I'm not going to get tired of the Chappelle impression of Lil Jon. We have the tickets to give away. They will go to the winner. So please call in if you want to play. The numbers game. The number to call, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Pitbull with Lil Jon. Call in now because the numbers game is next.
Hey, it's Adam Golden. As the Carolina Hurricanes shoot for their 8th consecutive playoff appearance, that's right, 8 in a row. That's not the goal, I should remind you. The goal is being, as Rod Brindamore likes to say, the last team standing. What do they need? Who will get them there? You know where you can find the answers on every episode of the Canes Corner podcast, live on YouTube after games, and wherever you get your podcast. Rate, subscribe, like, share, tell your friends.
Whether you're in school, whether it's in life, you just gotta give it everything you got, and I'm glad I was able to represent that.
The Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month from 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union. To nominate your athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing a lawyer, but getting some guy who just watches courtroom dramas.
How does the defendant plead?
Guilty. Wait, what? Also, objection.
You object to what?
Erroneous.
Counsel, approach the bench.
Hey, can I get a whack at the gavel?
You wouldn't settle for just any lawyer, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. The contestants for today, Malik in Raleigh and Tyler in Durham. They'll be battling it out for a pair of tickets to see Pitbull with Lil Jon. Okay. I'm not even good at it. I just enjoy doing it. But first, before we decide who goes first, we'll bring them each onto the air. Ask them each the same question. Dennis will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. So, Malik, we'll start with you. Malik, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. The question for today is, we're expecting some winter weather in the next few days here. So, we'll go like full snow day, right? You got a foot of snow, hypothetically, on your driveway. Can't go anywhere. You're stuck inside. What's your go-to snow day snack? What food are you munching on?
Ooh, I'm gonna say my mom's no-bake cookies.
Ooh, mom's. You said home-baked cookies?
No-bake cookies.
Oh, no-bake cookies. Gotcha. Any follow-ups, Dennis?
I'm curious about these no-bake cookies, but I might have to get more information on that off air.
All right.
All right, no-bake cookies.
You piqued his interest.
Yes.
So you're locked in with mom's no-bake cookies. Let's go to Tyler in Durham. Tyler, can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right, same question to you. It's a snow day, old school, foot of snow on the ground, can't go anywhere, stuck inside. What's your go-to snow day snack? What food are you eating?
Sit around and just eat some cake all day long.
Eat some cake?
That's right.
All right. Dennis, any follow-ups?
What kind of cake?
Just like a pound cake with chocolate icing.
Okay.
Pound cake, chocolate icing. All right. You're both locked in. Dennis, what answer are we going with? Malik has mom's no-bake cookies. Tyler went with cake, pound cake, chocolate icing.
This is actually tough. They're
both
really
like right
difficult.
up your alley.
Because yeah, it really is. I'm actually looking at these 15-minute no-bake cookie recipes right now because I'm like, I need to learn how to make this in case the power goes out. This is really intriguing. This is difficult because a pound cake is also delicious. I'm not a big fan of chocolate icing on pound cake, though. I'm going to go with the no-bake cookies, but both fantastic answers.
Interesting. Usually, I guess pound cake's a little different than because you're normally vanilla cake, chocolate icing.
Yellow
right?
cake, chocolate icing.
It's close, but I guess it's not the same.
It's not quite.
All right, so that means Malik gets to go first. Tyler, don't worry. You will have your chance. Just have to stay on hold for a second. Malik, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes.
All right. The categories are NFL Panthers throughout history, NFL Bobbies, Roberts, whatever, right? All some form of that name. NBA players born south of the equator, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
I'm going to go with the Panthers throughout history.
All right. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. I will say the team in this category, even though we know it, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. Any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Steve Smith, Carolina Panthers.
89.
Correct. Teteroa McMillan, Carolina Panthers.
4.
Correct. Nick Goings, Carolina Panthers.
Pass.
Chris Gamble, Carolina Panthers.
23.
Incorrect. Charles Johnson, Carolina Panthers.
90.
Incorrect. Nick Goings, Carolina Panthers.
Pass.
Yeah, you can't.
21.
Incorrect. Chris Gamble, Carolina Panthers.
25.
Incorrect. Charles Johnson, Carolina Panthers.
95.
Correct. Nick Goings, Carolina Panthers.
27.
Hey, you were getting closer there. You got Steve Smith. You got McMillan. You got Johnson. Goings, we were looking for 36 or 37. Chris Gamble, we were looking for 20. But 3, solid number. Leader in the clubhouse. We'll put you on hold and see if it holds up.
All right, appreciate you.
Appreciate you. That brings us to Tyler. Tyler, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, the categories remaining for you to choose from are NFLs, Bobbies, Roberts, Robbies, whatever, all players with that form of name, NBA, born south of the equator, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
The NFL Bobs.
Okay. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. You do need at least 4 for the victory. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. R.J. Harvey, Denver Broncos.
12.
Correct. Bob Sanders, Indianapolis Colts.
87.
Incorrect. Bobby Wagner, Washington Commanders.
54.
Correct. Robert Hunt, Carolina Panthers.
30.
Incorrect. Bob Sanders, Indianapolis Colts.
Pass.
Bob Golick, Cleveland Browns.
45.
Incorrect. Robert Hunt, Carolina Panthers.
22.
Incorrect. Bob Sanders, Indianapolis Colts.
20.
Incorrect. Bob Golick, Cleveland Browns. Bob Golick, Mike Golick's brother is where we were rolling with that one. You got 2. Unfortunately, that is not enough, but hopefully you had some fun playing with us.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. For R.J. Harvey, who, by the way, I didn't know R.J. stood for Robert Jr. Robert Jr. Harvey of the Denver Broncos. 12 or 37 would have been accepted. Bob Sanders, 21. Bob Sanders, I'm not surprised that he didn't get it because he's kind of breezed over through history. His peak as a safety is as good as anybody's. It was just short-lived due to injuries. Defensive Player of the Year. Number 21, Wagner with 54, Robert Hunt 50 with the Panthers, and Bob Golick 79. I don't know if I would have gotten Bob Golick. Most of these, I'm like, man, with enough guesses, I'd get it. Bob Golick was a tough one. That means Malik in Raleigh is the winner. Malik, congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. I like all of it. You do get the Pitbull tickets. You get the conversation with Dennis as well about those no-bake cookies that I'm sure he wants to have with you. So stay on the line. He'll grab some information. He'll ask some questions, and you'll get the tickets. All right?
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Dale.
That was Micah yesterday with Dolly.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we might have to ask the winner to go, what? Yeah. And everything else. If you don't get it, I mean, you got to watch some Chappelle Show from the early 2000s if you're just not getting my references at all, which is completely fine. I don't think everybody has to have my same references, but some of those Chappelle Show skits are required watching if you're going to be, at least if you're like, we're going to be friends, which I want to be friends with you all. And yes, Bob Sanders, I'll stand on that as somebody is already arguing with me on Twitter. Bob Sanders, his peak as a safety in the NFL is as high as anybody's. It's just, injuries, and he was a little undersized, so the injuries probably ate at him a little bit worse. But when he was at his peak with the Colts playing in that secondary, goodness gracious, he was incredible. And if it's insane that he's a Defensive Player of the Year. And if somebody were to get the jersey number correct, I would go like, wow, nice pull. You got Bob Sanders. That's insane. But, that's also life in a contact sport. So shout out to both Malik and Tyler for playing and for their little, snow day snacks, which is a good time to transition into NC Central. If you're planning on catching an NC Central basketball game tomorrow, Saturday, or Monday, those have been postponed. Check the schedule, right? Go online. You can find all the info there on when they are rescheduled and everything else. And pay attention. For sporting events in the area, we are expecting weather this weekend, and of the not fun to travel variety. So there may be some switches and pushes and pulls in the old scheduling world. So just pay attention for that. And as promised, we'll continue to update you if you hear anything. But even who knows, right? There's a Duke Wake game about 5:45 on Saturday. If they might bump that up to Friday, 2 teams locally, right? Not a lot of travel if they want to do that. Bump it up in the day, play it at noon or 11 a.m. We'll let you know if they make those types of decisions, but I guarantee you someone is contemplating the way to keep it as safe and as easy to execute as possible.
We're all in a wait-and-see mode right now.
It's a bummer. I want to know exactly how much snow we're going to get.
Yes.
When we're going to get it, so I know when to get my sled.
What's your ideal amount of snow?
I'm not a cold weather person, actually.
Yeah, grew up in Hawaii. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't love it, but my wife is big into the snowboarding, and the kids like the sledding. So if we're gonna get it, let's go, right?
Yeah.
Like a foot or more.
Yes.
I don't like having snow on the ground, right? I think it's annoying. I think it's annoying to drive in, but there's nothing worse than like 5 inches of snow, because then you're not it's not great sledding. It's not going to hang around long enough. By the end of the day, it's just slush. Like if you're gonna go, give us a foot plus of snow so we can snowball fight. You can sled. You do the whole. You build a really good snowman.
Mm-hmm.
Like do the whole thing if we're going to do it. I'm worried that this is going to be like alternating snow and ice and wintry mix, and it's not going to be the fun stuff to go play in.
Yeah, the ice is the worst part. That's the driving. That's the terrible thing. If it's just pure snow, that's fine. Scrape that off, keep it moving.
Yeah, but then as it melts and it hits night and it freezes,
keep it at like 28 degrees and you're fine.
I'm not a cold weather person.
I lived in Wisconsin for a short bit and just south of Milwaukee. And the winter I lived there was the coldest they had on record in like 25 years. But we would just get like an inch, get a couple inches.
It just wouldn't go anywhere.
Get 2 inches. But it was great because you had like a fresh little blanket of snow. Everything looked all nice and clean. Of course, it's Wisconsin. They're used to paving roads, so you can still drive everywhere. Roads, the sidewalks were clean. It was great.
I lived in
Loved
a
it.
small town in Nebraska, and that was the thing that got me was I grew up in like mild climates, mid-Atlantic, obviously like around here, and it snows and then it's gone. And it might snow a few times in a winter, but between it it got warm enough to make it all go away. When it was just there was snow on the ground for 3-4 months, and it just never went anywhere.
Loved it.
I hated it.
Really?
Oh, it was awful.
We're opposite.
I'm like, when is this going to go away? I'm fine with like a fun snow day. School canceled, go outside, play, great. When it's 2 weeks later and that it hasn't gone anywhere, I'm very upset. But we'll see. Again, I'm not a meteorologist, but WRAL.com can give you all the weather updates you need. They'll keep you updated. Our colleagues over there do a great job. Before we move on, Dennis Cox has something he would like to pass along.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick for my good friends over at Law Tigers. I know people aren't going to be riding around on motorcycles this coming weekend. At least I hope not around here. But if you are injured in a motorcycle accident, Law Tigers, they're there for you. Give them a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, even before you contact the insurance company, because Law Tigers are there for you, and Law Tigers they're there for the community, and they want to be part of the community. The Law Tigers attorneys, they are part of the motorcycle riding community. And the one thing about the motorcycle riding community that I've learned as someone who's a motorcycle rider, they like to be part of the community and give back to the community. And this is something that Law Tigers is doing once again this year, is giving back, especially to all you hockey fans out there, because the Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a Custom Canes Ducati motorcycle. That's right, a Custom Canes Ducati motorcycle, courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. The date to enter by, it's March 29th, but let's not wait till then, folks. Just go and do it right now. You can enter in on your phone, go on your computer, your laptop, whatever it might be. Just go to caniacsbike.com. Again, caniacsbike.com. You'll see pictures of the bike right there. Enter to win. The bike's going to be given away live on April 4th at the game, and it also includes tickets in a catered suite. That in and of itself is pretty awesome, too. That in and of itself is just a reason to enter. The bike's almost like a bonus, but you want to win that Ducati motorcycle. Caniacsbike.com. Again, caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, looks at the NFL and their coaching carousel. Coming up next.
The Adam Gold Show.
Folks, Brandon Bussey just might be the guy. The performance against Buffalo, the consistency of performance, the fact that in his 22 starts, 13 times, he has allowed 2 or fewer goals. Do you know what Carolina's record is when the goalie allows 2 or fewer goals? They are 18-1. That says it all.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. Over the years, I'm often asked why we made the choice to become one of the only mortgage companies in the state to provide loans without closing costs as a primary source of funding. And my response is always the same. How did closing costs ever become a thing? Who was that first person who asked for a lower rate, heard it would cost $15,000 to save $50 a month, smiled and said, "That'd be great." Recently, we're noticing a trend of large national lenders quoting low rates but with a high APR. This is the definition of what happened when that first person asked for a lower rate but ignored how much it would cost. Quotes today are a two-part process. It's not just the rate, but what are the closing costs? At Miller Lending, we simply don't believe you'll keep your loan long enough to realize additional savings. So before you throw away thousands of dollars in needless fees, pick up the phone and call Miller Lending today. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
Soundstation and Security, your automotive and audio experts. Car audio, car video, home theater, wheels and tires, and so much more. Plus, did you know Soundstation and Security offers full service for your vehicle? Alignments, inspection, oil changes, window tinting, and custom exhaust. And with a variety of financing options, Soundstation and Security can help you get what you need today. 2 locations, downtown Smith Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Sound Station and Security. Visit myhotsound.com.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The NFL Coaching Carousel, crowded. Might even be a line. 10 NFL teams will have different head coaches next year than they had last year. Giants, they'll have John Harbaugh, correction. Falcons, Stefanski. Dolphins, Jeff Hafley. Titans, Robert Saleh. Cardinals, still looking. Ravens, still looking. Bills, still looking. Browns, still looking. Raiders, still looking. Steelers, still looking. That's a ton. There's also, I didn't even go to defensive coordinator, but just off the top of my head, I scribbled down some offensive coordinator openings from other teams. So these are teams that didn't move on from their head coach, but are looking for new coordinators or already got new coordinators. The Chargers likely got Mike McDaniel. Chiefs, Eric Bieniemy. Washington, David Blah. Lions, Petsing. Eagles, Bucks still looking. And more could open up as some of those head coaching jobs are filled with potential offensive coordinators from elsewhere. Defensive coordinators, teams looking. There's a bunch of them. That is a crazy amount of movement in 1 year at the most important coaching positions in the sport, right? It'd be one thing if hey, look at all these special teams coordinators moving around. It's okay, no disrespect to special teams, not the same weight. And actually, we should talk about this. There is a world where Ejiro Evero gets a job as a head coach, right? He's some believe one of the favorites to get the Raiders job. And I don't even know if that's a huge compliment, because I also think part of the logic behind those predictions are there's not many people that have options that would want the Raiders job because of some of the dysfunction and some of the things on the roster. But if Evero gets that, then obviously Carolina's in the mix for a defensive coordinator, and how they go from there is a conversation. But to have your head coach and your coordinator offensively kind of locked in is a luxury right now. It is. Because, right after the season, Dan Morgan, he came on this show, but he also gave his state of the program address right after the season, whatever that was, the Tuesday after their Saturday loss. And he said they already have 600 names on their draft board, right? They're already evaluating. They've already been evaluating, and they at least know what system they're trying to put these guys in. Even if you have a GM, if you don't have your head coach or you don't have your offensive play caller, you're not exactly sure what skill sets you're looking for. And if you're wondering, yes, there are differences, right? There are certain players, nobody ever looked at Julius Peppers and said, I don't know if he fits our system, right? There are certain players that they're so good they fit everywhere, but those aren't the tough decisions, right? The tough ones are, how do we rate this guy who, we're thinking of in the third round or we hope to fall to us and all these things, and do they fit into what we want to do? The Panthers at least know what they want to do on offense. And if Evero leaves, I wouldn't be surprised if they promote from within his staff to keep that continuity because he does play a little bit of a unique system that I'm not sure they want to overhaul kind of unexpectedly. And I'm not 100% convinced he's going to get a head coaching job or is even a favorite for one. I think it's a massive advantage for the teams that have some stability. And I think it's crazy to wrap our heads around the Panthers being one of the teams with stability, with how many coaches they've rifled through in years past. And make no mistake about it, switching out coordinators and things is often a move of a head coach desperate to keep his job, right? Owner comes down, says, that season wasn't good. What are you doing? Because if I'm going to keep you, I need change. And they go, I'm getting rid of my coordinators, whether they believe in it or not. The Panthers have some stability right now, and they need to take advantage of that. They need to be, and I'm not saying they have shown any signs they won't be, but they need to be the most prepared team going into the draft. They need to be the most prepared team going into free agency. Because if not, they're wasting an advantage. They need to be ready for this one, Dennis? And this was floated to me, and I, you know me, I love my like wild and crazy ideas. I loved Cliff Kingsbury going. He's not anymore because Bieniemy got it. But I thought Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs would have been perfect because he's Mahomes' buddy from college, and then you could name him head coach in waiting for whenever Andy Reid wants to bounce. Let's say Everoak takes a head coaching job. Put him on the Raiders. Just a little hypothetical, right? Do you call Sean McDermott for that defensive coordinator job?
Doesn't hurt. Hey, man, want to come home?
Want to come back? Remember all that fun you had? Remember, the thing that made you the attractive head coaching job or a candidate to go get the Bills job? You want to mix it up? I'm just saying. Possibility, right? And I know he wasn't around when Canales was around, but I would guess there was never a ton of space between Dan Morgan and the Panthers, right? A little check-in every now and then just as an all-time great. Maybe, him and McDermott may have had a couple conversations.
I mean, Dan Morgan was an assistant up there in the front office with the Bills when McDermott was hired.
Very true. Actually, that's even better connection.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. My point is, if Evero leaves, it doesn't have to be a huge oh no, right? It could be let's see if we can maybe get somebody a little bit more accomplished in here, especially if David Tepper's willing to pay. And guess what? If I'm David Tepper, just had a little season uptick, made the playoffs, right? I don't know if everybody saw him because I know everybody's just anti-Tepper all the time. He looked like he was having a heck of a time walking around on that field before the playoff game, right? I think that's a pretty good time to ask for more money or ask for a high-priced coordinator or whatever it is, right? Remember how fun that was? Do you want more of that? Here's all it costs, right? Mark Cuban wasn't given to Indiana until they showed that they were going to be a team that went after it and tried to win a national championship. Now he's giving all kinds of money and talking about it to everybody. Maybe you can get David Tepper to pay a little extra coming off the playoff thing and get yourself a real headlining coordinator. And maybe Sean McDermott would be into it because, A, he just left a real pressure cooker of a head coaching job, and he's familiar with the area in Carolina, and he really would get to run the defense, right? It would be like if I'm Dave Canales, I look at McDermott and say, it's your show over there. I'll call timeouts. Like you really let him loose. But that's just connecting dots and having fun with the carousel world. As far as the Stefanski to the Falcons, that doesn't scare me a ton in conference or in division for the Panthers. He's a good coach. I don't know if he's like he might make things unbeatable coach. I think he improves their offense, but we'll wait to see if he's a true difference maker there, and we'll go from there. I'm much more afraid, and this could be right or wrong. Kellen Moore, what he did this year with the Saints was kind of like, ooh, maybe we should pay attention to what he's got going on once they get out of salary cap jail. But the Falcons are not as scary to me. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Please continue to pay attention for weather updates on scheduling and everything, and we'll do our best to keep you updated. NC Central, so far, is the only team I'm aware of that has already gone ahead and rescheduled some basketball games coming up. So if you're planning on going to one of those, double check. I believe they're postponed at least through Monday for NC Central basketball games. But like I said, double check and trust your sources. WRL.com, great place for weather updates. We have Overdrive coming up next, and we're going to start off talking some NC State basketball, so stick around for that. We'll be back tomorrow for a Thursday show. Until then, have a great night, everybody.
Evan Canty and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The Buffalo Bills have fired head coach Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott did an awesome job in Buffalo, but not good enough. And we have been saying this all year. Sean McDermott should be the coach of an NFL team next year. It should just not be the Buffalo Bills. They have to get someone to win now.
Unsportsmanlike.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
What's this?
We're expanding the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club.
That's a pretty big wrecking ball.
Well, with all these new scratch-offs, this place is going to be packed with new winners. Okay, let's go ahead and knock this wall down. This is where we're putting the polo field. Whoa, patience, Trixie.
This month's tickets are loaded with $90 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds winning range from 1 in 3.35 to 4.68. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hi, Greg Talbot with Strategic Tax Resolution. Tax enforcement and defense strategies have changed a lot over the last year. After nearly 5 years, the IRS has restarted automated collections. You could be next for bank levies and wage garnishments. Ignoring the issue is not an option. Call 984-272-2600 to get protected. Do you have unfiled returns or tax debt? We work directly with the IRS and states so you don't have to. Let us use our proven strategies and experience with the IRS and state to resolve your tax issue. Qualified clients have cut their tax debt by more than 90%. How would that feel? Act now to learn the latest updates to tax relief programs. Your eligibility may not be the same. Strategic Tax Resolution. Local, trusted, A+ rated by the BBB. Call 984-272-2600. Ask for me, Greg Talbot. 984-272-2600. You've got a guy on your side. StrategicTaxResolution.com. Get relief.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, NA member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And